Your friends over at GiantBomb.com are extending the free trial window on a limited time basis. Normally, you get a 7-day free trial if you're a new premium user to our site, but we're expanding that to 30 days. Because a lot of you podcast listeners have probably heard us talk about Giant Bomb Premium or GiantBomb.com on this show, but have no idea what it is. You're just like, I just listened to this podcast. There's a whole website full of videos, other podcasts, reviews, information, excitement, and you have no idea what you're missing out on. So, our holiday gift to you, 30 days of free access. Check it out. Your chance to check out content like Mario Party. It says literally someone wrote in this document, you might have heard about Mario Party. Have you ever watched Mario Party? You can with this free trial. I was there. I lived it. Anyway, if you've never checked out Premium, this is a chance for more of it for free. This is going to go from December 20th to December 31st. For new Premium users, visit GiantBomb.com/free trial 30 and redeem the coupon code GOTY19. And speaking of end-of-the-year gifts for the audience, that's you, the audience, some of the other divisions in this company we work for, CNET, GameSpot, they asked us, hey, do you guys want in on a sweepstakes that'll give your listeners and readers a chance to maybe win like a PlayStation or an Xbox or a Switch? And we were like, I guess, yeah, that seems like something we should probably at least offer to people, and hopefully they won't miss out on it. So you could win a PlayStation 4 Pro, an Xbox One S, or a Switch Lite in this sweepstakes. There's ways you can get multiple entries and stuff like that. Anyway, there's a whole page about it. This is going to last also through the 31st. GiantBomb.com/giveaway. That'll bring you to the article that one Matt Rory wrote with instructions about how to enter to win. Hey, you might win a console. Maybe you don't own it yet. It's the end of the generation, but maybe you somehow ended up not getting one. Now's the time. Get in!
We've made it. We are here. It is the 5th and final day of 2019's Game of the Year festivities.
Yay!
Congrats to us. We've done it.
Time to make a list.
Oh, no.
We made a list.
Yay!
Pickle drink of the year.
Goes to
Vinny Caravella.
Thank you.
Now it's time to demolish. Now it's time to demolish this giant list
taste
that
it
we've
from
made,
here.
Make it 10.
and pick up the pieces and put it back together into a shorter and ordered list
ordered.
of the 10 best games of the year.
Let's say 10.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
Even number.
All right. Yesterday I said 1,000 and I meant it, but I guess if you guys just want to do 10.
We started with 1,000, and these are the only 10.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's what
The
we
only
got.
10
There are
people
only
care
10
about. Yeah.
games.
All right.
Everything else is early access.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
We sketched out a kind of short list of games that we think will be in the conversation, but people can add stuff if they think of it.
Yes.
I have one I think I want to add.
Oh, yeah?
Okay.
Well, let's go ahead and say
I
it.
will fight for it. I don't think it'll.
What's the
we'll
name?
see. I want to add The Sims 4. It has brought on a bunch of expansion packs this year. So I don't really know how that works.
I don't know that
That would be more of an old
expansions
game
are
of the
not
year.
eligible.
They're major
works.
expansions.
Yeah, but it's not a new game.
It's not a new
All
game.
right.
Speaking of new things, we should probably reiterate today is a new day. We will have spoilers.
Yeah, probably.
And talk about games.
Most
and
likely.
Also, if you're just tuning in, because, our top 10 list is very popular. Of
course.
We have talked about all these games on previous days.
And more.
So we might not tread that ground.
We are going to talk about these as much as necessary.
You want to know how we got here?
But
Yeah,
yes, a lot of
It's a whole
days
journey.
podcast.
a lot of discussion of these games has taken place already. So I'm going to read through the list real fast, and then we'll get down to it.
Let's do it.
Here's what we've got so far: Control, Cadence of Hyrule, Disco Elysium, Apex Legends, Sekiro, Judgment, Resident Evil 2, Hypnospace Outlaw, Mortal Kombat 11, Ape Out, What the Golf, Ring Fit Adventure, Void Bastards, Mario Maker 2, Baba Is You, Luigi's Mansion 3, Hypnospace Outlaw again,
Wow.
Remnant from the Ashes, Outer Wilds, Pokemon, Death Stranding,
No.
Tetris 99, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, The Outer Worlds, The Division 2, and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Death Stranding
So-
on there was a joke. So
it's not.
You can just cut it.
It's not a
Did I
joke.
see Void Bastards?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's on there.
And Link's Awakening's not on there. I don't know if that's. I know it's not going to make it on the top 10, but
Okay,
I just
well,
want to say it's on my personal top 10.
Okay, that's
so.
cool.
Brad has deleted one of the Hypnospace Outlaws.
I might have put NeoCab on here, but honestly, I think I've said everything I want to say about that game. It's really good, but it's definitely not going to be a top 10 game.
Yeah, so in that spirit of having discussed all of this stuff a lot, I kind of want to just go down the list and like get a verbal show of hands, take the temperature of the room on each game, and sort of
All
like.
right, let me barf up my mouth arm.
What does the hand indicate? Does it mean it's in our top 10? Does it mean we think it should be?
It should be
on our
considered
top 10.
The hand.
It means like we think
we're not
think
cutting
it's-
this.
I
We're
feel
not
like it
cutting
means like don't cut it.
Okay.
We
The
wanna-
hand-
yeah.
the hand-
Talk about it
And
more.
Brad, if you could, as you're, if you end up moving games off the list as a result of this, just move them to the bottom and in a separate area
yeah.
instead of just cutting them because that just gets ugly.
That's fair.
When we're trying to remember what
That's
got cut.
that's fair. The hand is symbolic of you reaching out to connect with other human beings.
Oh, okay,
that's
cool.
why.
That's a cool metaphor,
That's why
Brad.
the crystals are shaped like a hand.
Oh, so you want a
show?
show of strands?
I get it.
I can't.
You set
can't.
yourself up
I'm
for that
sorry.
one, Brad.
I'm sorry.
We said we'd never talk about that.
Why
game
do you
again.
even invite me here if this isn't what you want?
All right.
I need more pickle drink.
No, you don't.
So yeah, I'll just read out each game and everybody just sort of like
How about if I just say keep it?
signal your enthusiasm
I don't
if you sincerely, genuinely think it belongs in the top 10 and it has a chance
Okay.
in this room of making it.
Should we say yay or nay for the audio folks?
I'm going to say keeper.
Okay.
I
It's a
think if you
keeper.
want it, you say something. If you don't, you keep your mouth shut.
I like yay and nay, and then we can have everyone.
But when everyone's saying
envisioning-
yay and nay at once, it's just going to sound like yay.
Envisioning like a Giant Bomb Greek chorus here.
Yeah. Why don't you try it? Let's see
Wow,
how it
almost
goes.
like astrologaster. Anyway.
Okay. All right. So yeah, games you really genuinely think should be on there and can be on there.
Okay.
Control.
Should be on there.
Okay.
Should be on there.
That is strong support for that. Cadence of Hyrule.
Yay.
This system is already great.
The system works. Yeah.
That game's all right.
I also.
Part of yay. I mean, like, you
I'm
know,
also. That's like a top.
this is where we need to really clarify what we're talking about, because it's like my
no,
yay
I think-
is a yay of like, yeah, we should talk about this a little more. Not yay. I definitely
Well, this
think
is not binding. This is. I
This is
think
you
that
want it.
This is
you
don't
think
cut it
about
I
right
think we
now.
can have a little more conversation about it.
Nothing's
like,
getting cut
you know.
right now.
We're
but I
measuring
just, like-
enthusiasm.
But
Yeah.
I think that response was telling. Although I agree with you, that is totally a top 10 game. Disco Elysium.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Couple people. Apex Legends. Yeah. See. Sekiro.
Yay.
Hey.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yay.
All right. Judgment.
Yay! Yay!
Okay. Resident Evil 2.
Yay!
Totally. Hypnospace Outlaw.
Yay.
Okay. That's like. See,
It's like halfway there.
I'm kind of formulating a mental cutoff here. It's like if I hear four voices, then Mortal Kombat 11.
Yay.
Yeah. Okay. Ape Out.
Yay! Oh, come on. Come on!
This is a great system.
Doesn't feel
Yay!
good. Doesn't feel good, does it, Alex?
This is exciting.
Yay!
Kind of hurts.
You're all bastards.
What the Golf?
Yay.
Yay!
Okay, there's some enthusiasm there. Ring Fit Adventure.
Yay.
All right.
I think they got artificially louder on that one.
Because we're all fit.
God, they figured
We got
out
good lungs.
I know, yeah.
they figured out how to game the system.
Got a VU meter back there.
Void Bastards.
Yay!
Mario Maker 2. All right.
Wow.
That's gone. Bye,
That's
bitch.
gone.
I could see it.
Yeah, I don't.
Very,
That's a
very, very
shrug.
quiet woo.
Quiet shrug.
I could see a number 10.
Baba is
That's
you.
a yay.
Okay. Luigi's Mansion 3.
Yay!
Remnant from the Ashes. I
Ooh.
don't know
Needle's
that
only kind of moving there a little bit.
I don't know that I agree.
Just so you can't start yet.
Outer Wilds.
Yay.
Pokemon.
Yay!
Damn it.
Wow, who brought the air horns in?
Ben, put that down.
Sorry.
It's got an unfair advantage. Death Stranding. Yay.
Correct.
Yeah.
That game might sneak into my top 10.
Oh, goddamn.
I think it's one
Were
of
you
the.
here yesterday?
I cannot live the way you live, Brad.
Tetris, well, I didn't
It is
finish
one of the most
I hear you,
influential.
Brad.
I didn't I stopped at what is
hear
said
you.
to be the best part of the game. Tetris 99. Yay! Okay. Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Yay.
Bloodstained Ritual of the Night.
Yay!
The Outer Worlds. Yay!
It's gonna be a fight between that and Mario Maker 2 for like a number 10.
I think that was kind of a no.
Yeah.
Division 2.
Wait, even Vinny's
Wait,
not.
Vinny, you were the one who's supposed to do that.
I didn't know we could have like full and half because if we go back and run the list again, I'm gonna scream louder for certain games.
Jedi Fallen Order. Okay.
Can you do Judgment one more time, please?
I think that ship sailed.
I'll let Ape Out go. That's fine. But come on, man.
Ape Out didn't make it either.
I know. I'm letting that go.
Doesn't mean it's
These are
not
We
not-
had just
I know,
as many
we're just-
yays for Judgment as Tetris 99.
No, we had one. We did 1.5 for Judgment. I think.
That's my judgment.
That's another half. That's
How many things did you asterisk?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. You want me to read them out?
Sure.
Control, Apex, RE2, Hypnospace Outlaw, Mortal Kombat 11, What the Golf, Ring Fit Adventure, Void Bastards, Baba Is You, Luigi's Mansion 3, Outer Wilds, Tetris 99, Call of Duty, Bloodstained, and kind of the Outer Worlds, maybe.
I don't
15.
think the Outer Worlds really got.
No.
Yeah, I don't think it should be.
There were multiple people, but they were not super
Yeah.
enthused.
Yeah.
The other ones, I think the enthusiasm was there.
Yeah.
If we're going by stuff that was not checked off, just to wipe off, you can take the Division 2 off. I think
yeah.
it was a fun time while I played it. I don't think it's going to be a top 10. It might be on my personal list, but it's very similar to the Division.
I like Star Wars a lot, but it's got significant issues, and there's a lot of games that are very, very well liked on this list.
I enjoyed it a lot. I
Yeah.
think other people have a lot stronger feelings about the games they enjoyed.
Death Stranding.
I think Death Stranding is one of the most interesting games of the year and maybe ever in just like the context of how it was made and what it was trying to do, but I do not think it's one of the 10 best video game
It's
games.
something that should absolutely be studied
Yes.
by science.
Yes.
Brad, could you just like hit return a couple of times and then write the Bammer and then put those games down in the Bammer?
The Bammer.
And we can pull them back out if we come to a point where we only got 9 games. How'd that happen?
Does everything go in the Bammer?
Anything that we're like cutting from the top list now,
Sure,
I
goes
just
to the
throw it in the
Bammer.
Bammer.
Matt Rory's not even here today.
Remnant of the Bammer?
Yeah, Remnants in the Bammer. It would be in my
Death
top 10,
Stranding's in the
but-
Bammer.
Pokemon in the Bammer.
Death Stranding's in the Bammer. Pokemon's in the Bammer.
Pokemon is a Bammer.
Okay.
Okay, Bammer.
Sekiro got deafening silence.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sure did.
That's a good game.
It is a good
It's a
game.
good game.
It is, but none of
It's
us.
a
But
good
our
game,
enthusiasm
but-
for it, I
Yeah.
think, is greatly lessened than most of the things on this list.
So Sekiro and Ape Out going down.
Bammer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It hurts, but yeah. I mean, if no one else liked Ape Out as much as I did, I think it belongs in the Bammer.
All right.
Throw it in the Bammer.
Done. I think Disco Elysium got only kind of one.
All right, here we go.
1.5.
I
mean,
Notes out.
Oh wow!
Okay,
He
well-
pulled out a notebook.
I mean, I'll just leave it for now. Then, if you're going to make an impassioned argument, then we'll
You
kind
scared
of.
about you scared with your.
I mean,
notes.
let's keep whittling the list down before we get into. anything.
You're going to need a top version of this too, of games that we think definitely make the cut.
The Yammer,
Yes, the Yammer.
The Hammer.
Well, no, I think that I think we'll
yes,
get
the Hammer.
the
All right.
Glamour.
Okay.
Glamour, yeah.
Okay, Judgment, no star.
Well, that no.
Oh, no, I think that's
I was
like
thinking,
easily
let's-
5 stars.
Let's pull some stuff up top, like just to get it off this list and whittle down what we're really talking about.
Is Outer Wilds in contention of being?
yeah,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Outer Wilds
Outer
is a top 10
Wilds,
game.
Control,
Yeah, like
RE2, right?
I think Outer Wilds and Control definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think RE2 probably,
To me,
but I
to me,
think we need to actually
RE2
talk
got
about
a
it.
lot of response, and I think it is absolutely.
Yeah.
RE2 is amazing.
I feel
I'd say
strongly that it's great. so,
RE2
yeah.
and Modern Warfare, I think, belong up there.
Probably Luigi, right?
Does anybody-
Like Luigi.
let's-
I didn't play it. I'm not
Let's slow
Alright.
roll a little bit.
All right.
Slower roll.
How many people feel really strongly about Modern Warfare?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the multiplayer is very good.
4.
I mean, I haven't
I
played
think
the
you can
single
poke
player.
holes in like that discussion because of how bad the co-op
Yeah.
is, but at the same time, like I think it's just a tremendous multiplayer.
Sounds
Big
really
fan.
interesting.
I don't think it's going to be like in my top 5, but
yeah.
I do enjoy it quite a bit.
Let's not quite move it up just yet.
Yeah,
MK?
like that'll probably
MK. Anybody?
Yeah,
anybody?
I think MK
is a
belongs
top
in
10
there.
game.
Better put
Yeah.
that in there.
I think that belongs in there.
I really like Apex Legends. Does anybody else
I
feel
think
very?
that should- I think
really
that
like
has to
Apex
be
Legends.
on, on our list.
I would certainly like it, as shooters go. That's the one I would put in.
Yeah.
I mean, we can put in more than one. I realize
yeah,
that. I'm
yeah.
just saying,
but
like that is.
I think Apex has to be on this list.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think the Outer Worlds is going to make it from the sound of it.
Yeah,
I think so. I think it's a really
we've already
solid
put 5
video.
games up there and the other stuff on this list. Like I tend to
actively made me upset in the back half.
Man,
it's that game. It's a weird bummer because I think like
my hopes were so high.
our first week of that game, I was like, man, this is like maybe number 1 or number 2. This is a
Seriously,
great
yeah.
game. I'm having a great time with this. And oof.
Brad, for the folks that are listening, do you mind reading where we're at? Just we just did a lot of work here.
Control, Outer Wilds, RE2, MK11, and Apex are the 5 that we've got on kind of a lot.
That will most
the hammer
likely make our top
list.
10.
Yeah.
What's left in contention?
Cadence, Disco Elysium, Judgment, Hypnospace, What the Golf, Ring Fit Adventure, Void Bastards, Baba Is You, Luigi's Mansion 3, Tetris 99, Call of Duty, and Bloodstained.
I would put Bloodstained up there.
Yeah. Let's put that right up there.
Really?
There was a time when I would have thought that would sound insane, but as we have gotten deeper and deeper into that game, like I have so much respect for how stupid it is.
I can see. I haven't played it yet, but I can see.
It belongs in contention.
Vinny,
I really like that game, but there might be passion for other games that are higher than that.
Can we get the official Vinny Stania brand opinion?
It's a lot of fun. It's a very fun game.
Here's the thing. I think it going in there does not mean it will make the top 10, but I think it should be in that consideration.
I'm going to create a middle ground here.
Okay.
Okay. I have a game for the middle ground that I believe 3 people are very passionate about.
Yes.
Ring Fit Adventure.
Absolutely.
I believe that they crushed it in every possible way they could in this video game.
All the most swole and sexiest people with the tightest asses like Ring Fit.
Okay, so
So if you guys don't like it, what does that say about you?
Like a bunch of tight ass like businessmen love this thing. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
All right.
You can put it in a suitcase.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what
Bring it to your
businessmen
business
love.
meetings. Yeah.
that's why I bring suitcases to my business meetings.
Still use suitcases.
It's a briefcase.
It's a briefcase, Dan.
What's the difference? Wait.
Oh, we can't do this right now.
Seriously, real quick.
A briefcase is
Suitcases and
smaller.
briefcases are different?
Absolutely. A suitcase
I
is
didn't know that.
traveling luggage.
You didn't know that either?
You didn't know
A briefcase is for your briefs, like your legal briefs,
It's like
your paperwork.
small,
Really,
like-
that's your business papers.
Yeah, and your underwear. Yeah.
I thought it was the same thing.
Yeah, I did too.
That's wild
Wow.
to me. Read a book.
I think you could use a suitcase as a briefcase if you're
People just look at you funny.
you'd
Yeah.
be,
Yeah,
but,
you're not a very
but if
good
you use
You
the
rolled into a
briefcase
meeting and
as,
went snap, snap, open on
Yeah.
a suitcase, and you were like, "Here's my papers."
I think
I've
if
got
you-
a lot of papers.
Yeah.
I think if you used a imagine James Bond when he gets the classified documents. If he
Yeah, it's
opened
like a
a
little
suitcase,
I
and
don't.
they were in there.
That's what I thought he always had.
Okay. I think in the middle ground here, I would probably then put if we're actually doing this purgatory middle ground thing, Call of Duty and
Void Bastard.
I was going to say Luigi's Mansion 3.
Oh.
Because I really like.
I mean, I feel I feel that everything on the bottom list is quickly going to end up in the middle ground at this rate. But
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's talk about what
I
isn't.
don't because I honestly I don't like looking at these games. I'm really hard pressed to find a way that Void Bastards ends up on that list.
I'm with you.
As much as I love that
with
game
you.
and
Like,
was like
it's-
really hot on it
Yeah.
for a few weeks, I think it does a lot of things really well. But I think yes, it just doesn't do enough to push it over that.
It's really cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was
it is.
hooked on it. But
me
yeah,
too.
I mean,
I get why you guys like it.
Why
I
is it-
really hoped for more variety in the action, in the action,
okay.
in the actual loop, the gameplay.
Yeah,
loop.
I really enjoyed my time with that game, and I have gone back to it a couple of times since I played through it. But like, there's just heavier hitters here.
I loved it. It's a little low on my top 10, and I know just as a site, there are other games that people have more enthusiasm for, so I could see it not making it.
All right, sure.
All right. I'm gonna say I feel like What the Golf you guys like seem to respect and like a lot, but maybe it's not quite the banger that.
It's a funny little thing. It's really cool.
I feel similarly about how I felt about Void Bastards. Like, it's a
Yeah.
cool thing. I really enjoyed it.
I guess
but, like,
I get the impression that it's a little slight compared to some stuff.
Yeah, it's not
here.
going to like stick with me. You know, I had a lot of fun while I was playing
Drop
it.
it in the bammer.
To the bammer.
Oh shit! I had just deleted Void Bastards. That's
oh
not
no, that's got to go in the bammer.
In the void.
I banished it to the void. I should probably.
You bastard.
All right.
Did you also delete Mario Maker 2?
I literally nobody
one.
responded when I
No
read
one.
that name out. Huh. Nothing.
Nothing.
Just nothing. think it was the
You should
only.
put another thing that's the dammer, and then that's where
just
things
that
just
game.
Death Stranding and Mario Maker.
I think it was literally the only game on the list where nobody opened their mouth.
I think given the discussions we've had, Hypnospace Outlaw belongs in the middle ground.
Yeah, I could see that.
I would love that.
And Baba Is You also. I think I would lock Baba Is You honestly because I think that's a top.
I think that's like a number 10. Number 10.
I think that game has so many cool ideas. Like I was really, really impressed with that game. Even if I found it a little bit like work to play, like I think I haven't really played a game like that, and I think that's really awesome.
I think it's just so inventive with the
Yeah.
way
It
it bends its rules and all that sort of stuff. It's so cool.
But
So
did
cool.
any of us finish it, or did we all kind of have that same
No,
experience?
I've been chipping away with it.
Yeah,
Like, I
it's
come
a-
back to it. It's not a.
It's not. I don't think that's a like that. Those types of games. I think. Did you finish it or
Right, but I just mean like if we
It's a
all
hard
had
game.
that same experience where we all really respected it and really enjoyed what it was doing, and then it eventually kind of broke us all. I think that is kind of a telling
I'm
thing.
kind of with you. Like it does its one thing really well,
Yeah.
and it iterates on it in really interesting ways. I think it just kind of gets to a point where it's like, okay, I get it. You're just okay. The things that I think that game does the best is, I think Abby mentioned it earlier, where it will give you like the same level 3 times and just change one little thing between the 3 of them, and it really shows you like how complex the systems are, how crazy you can get with just the tiniest.
It's a
change.
smart way to almost like tutorialize concepts.
Yeah.
In the early parts of that game.
But I think by the mid game, it's just like the
it
wears
fucking
off
hard too.
Yeah.
It got to a point where I would launch it and finish 5 levels, and then as I got deeper in, I'd launch it and finish 4, and now it's like I launch it and maybe I'll finish 1,
Yeah.
or maybe I'll just go like, oh shit, man, my head is too dumb for this.
Yeah, I'll say it. I'm too dumb for this game sometimes,
Yeah.
and like that's just a personal thing. Like I can't control that.
Yeah,
Smart game going bammer.
I don't know. I beat the game.
Okay, you're smart. We
Jan
get it.
Smart going bammer.
I beat the game, and then it's one of the rare games of this year, at least, that gave me that sense of satisfaction. Not that necessarily like I was smart enough to complete it, but like I was able to just dumb luck my way out of certain situations in the game, and like there's no stakes at all, right? There's no timer. You can reset. You can undo a move. But then like the fact I was able to get the concepts and systems, and like they slowly introduce more newer things. And the game this reminded me the most of from last year was like Exapunks, because of like the loose logic involved into it. That like one little variable can completely throw off the puzzle, but at the same time that one little variable could lead me to winning. And you could just completely break down this game to a point where it's like breaking you down at the same time. But then like the final twist of like, okay, I finally got the logic of it, and it's like you figure out the syntax of what you need to figure out of making the solution work, and it just I don't know, it's such a it's like those slide puzzles that they give out in like dollar stores to like blown up to like a fucking a whole world, and it's amazing to me. Also, is it a sheep? Is it a rabbit?
I don't know.
It's Baba.
right?
It's Baba.
Baba.
Sounds like it's still in purgatory.
I think it belongs in purgatory.
Yeah,
Baba
I
is
think-
purgatory.
And I don't mean that nearly as negatively as that sounds when you say it like that.
I also, my question is, so I think in Purgatory in the top part, I think this is 10. So like, if you didn't do Baba's You, what would you do?
Luigi's Mansion 3.
Yeah.
Judgment.
Well, let's talk about our bottom 5 here.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
How much support is there for Cadence of Hyrule? Because
I
think
was
that
a
game
yay.
fucking
Sorry, go ahead.
rules. Oh man, are you gonna? Oh dude,
I just
really cool. I
wanted
really
to say
like
I
it.
was a yay, and now I'm looking at like the 10 we have and a couple of the ones down here, and I
man.
don't think it makes my 10.
It's so cool. I love what they did with it. I think it was such a risky, not risky, but just such a bold move for
Bold, yes,
Nintendo
yes.
that
Totally.
they don't usually do.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad it happened. I had a lot of fun with it, but like I just don't realistically think it's going to be in our top 10.
I guess
That's how I feel, too.
I'm like the only one here that should probably. Oh man, fuck.
It's awesome.
It's like sitting at 9 on my personal list, but I just
All right, man.
This goes in the bammer.
Game has just been done wrong at every turn.
No, I think it's. I think
yeah,
that's
that's like it's almost the best music of the year. It's almost in the top 10. I think is good credit for like what it was.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. Like, I think there are a lot of things that game does well, but like none of it really necessarily like knocked me over. Like none of it really like. That is a game I enjoyed, I played, but I can't say that it really stuck with me too much beyond the soundtrack. Like after I played it,
Yeah, same here. I thoroughly enjoyed it while I was playing it.
Okay.
You think Disco Elysium cracks top 10?
Oh boy.
Yes.
He pulled the notebook out again.
All right,
Do you want me to elaborate on that?
Now is the time for the notebook, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
right,
like
yeah.
given the 10 games we've got above it and all that sort of stuff, you think it knocks something out?
I do.
He's
all
rolling
right.
up his sleeves.
Let's get to it.
limber. So Disco Elysium is a game that a lot of let's say really passionate fans are really loud about. It being kind of revolutionary. That's a word you hear a lot of it. Is like it's changing the landscape of RPGs or whatever. Blah blah blah. I kind of agree, and I think the two things that it really does well, the two things I think that it really nails are just the quality of the writing and the systems, and those are the two things kind of that I feel most passionate about.
Well, I feel like those kind of are the two things in that
Well,
game.
yeah.
right?
I mean, there's music and looks and
Sure,
all this
but,
other
like,
stuff, but
that's-
like specifically how those two tie together, I think, is the key to why the whole game works. So the systems, we kind of talked about. I talked about how there's like it's a game with stats. You have like empathy and physical strength and stuff like that. And there are active dice rolls going on where you will like talk to somebody and you'll have like, it'll say like, you have a 68% chance to pass this empathy check. And you roll the dice and something happens. I think the thing that this game does really well is it allows you as the player to feel like you're working with a DM. You're working with a human who can roll with your bad choices. You're working with somebody that can
like if you paint your
react.
character into a corner, the story it still has a story for you. It's not just like
and not only that, like
I spent all week making figurines for this dungeon that now you're never going to get into.
totally. So an early example is you're a detective with amnesia and you get introduced to your partner Kim, and he asks you what your name is, and you can straight up tell him like I have amnesia, I don't remember my name, or you can pass a composure check that is make up a fake name. And if you choose that and you fail, you give yourself a name like Detective Clousteau. It's basically like some kind of really
Aloysius, yeah,
Yeah. And like I'm like, okay, that's a funny little one-off joke. But you can spend the rest of your game introducing yourself to people as that detective. And eventually there's a thought that unlocks tied to that, which will give you buffs and bonuses. Like if you internalize it and work with it, the game is like rewarding you off of a bad dice roll. And I think that is one of the more interesting things about it is it encourages you to go for risky things. It encourages you to say weird shit to people. It encourages you to like fuck with people. It encourages you to say things you might not otherwise say. I think another example of that is I was just one of the starting areas. There's a body hanging in a tree in a backyard, and these two children, just the worst humans in the universe, and they're just like egging you on and screaming at you and stuff, and you can get so flustered that you like point your gun at one of these kids, and there is a prompt there that says like pull the trigger, and I was just like, is this for real? Like I don't even want to do it because I don't want to like see what happens. I don't even want to know what happens. But I got as far as pointing my gun at that kid. And that has ramifications through the entire game. Like 2 hours before the end of the game, I'm having a conversation with my partner and he's like, I'm shocked. That's kind of one of the worst things I did. I tried to play a little more straight after that. But he just was like, you're rash. I've seen you in the heat of the moment. Are you sure this is something you want to do? Like, you remember when you fucking pointed a gun at a child? And it's not even your gun. You steal your partner's gun to point it at this kid. And I think that the system there, it really lets you be who you want to be in that game and not have to worry about min-maxing. There's no Outer Worlds moment where you see an option grayed out and you're like, oh boy, if I had more of this stat, I could have gotten this option.
Yeah.
And then it goes even further in that where you are kind of punished in a way for getting... So like if you pour too many points into empathy, your character will start like crying randomly when somebody tells you a sad thing. Like you can go too far in a direction, which is really interesting because it'll make certain checks easier, but it'll also like really punish you for trying to min-max and play it like a video game.
Yeah, I think it's the way they roll with failure. And other games have been like, oh, well, you failed that skill check and now the story continues. But usually that just means, well, now you have to pick a different dialogue option. as opposed to like you failed this and something fucking a dumb calamity happened and you looked like a real fucking jack off.
Yeah.
And now the rest of the game you have to deal with like everyone who saw you do that.
I tried to dance at one point and I slipped. I tripped over my ankle, and then from that portion, one of the cool punks wouldn't talk to me anymore. He thought I was a lame-o, and he fucking called me names and shit anytime I tried to talk to him. And I'm like, this is like I felt bad. Like I felt like bad about it. But then later you find out that like that guy, you know, it ties into another quest in a really interesting way. And then the last thing I want to say, you know, before I get off my platform here is I just really appreciate the overall writing itself. I think it does some really interesting things. I think the last conversation when you're confronting the killer, when you're like, and then it gets a little weird after that, is just really emotional. I wrote down an excerpt that I'd like to read from the game.
I wrote a poem about.
My name is Ben, and I'm here to say I love poetry in a major way. So this is from one of the thoughts. The thoughts are the things that really affected me. I talked about these before. These are like where you get your communism, or where you get those other like, you said a thing so many times in the universe that it's coming back and actually reflecting upon your character now. And this is for, the thought is called rigorous self-critique. And the way you unlock this is by basically making fun of yourself. Like you kind of will fail a speech check with somebody and be like, damn, I'm such an idiot. And then the world is very like, Kim is often like, no, being a cop is hard work. You're doing your best. But if you keep like shitting on yourself, you unlock this thing here. And this is basically the paragraph of text it gives you afterwards. And I thought this like really kind of hit me on an emotional level, and it says, here it is. Hard facts from the man you are. You once jerked off in the locker room and were caught. You held a young woman by the arm and kept her in your apartment for 20 minutes against her will. That's right. These are not flights of fancy. These are real deeds, Harry, emerging from the darkness of your past. You tried shooting a fleeing suspect in the foot, but hit him in the pelvis, crippling him for life. And above all, you let life defeat you. All the gifts your parents gave you, all the love and patience of your friends are drowned in a neurotoxin. You let misery win and will keep on winning until you die or overcome it. And it's stuff like that. That's a real ass, I don't know, emotional thing that like I personally have dealt with, like being too hard on yourself. And I think that like to have it materialize in a video game in a very natural way, just through conversation options, just through like dialogue options. You know, they like to. The developers are a little too cute with this, but they like to like call it a Rorschach test or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think they genuinely made a video game that works like that. And I think that I've never played a game that's been able to reflect back what I put into it as well as Disco Elysium.
So here's a question I have, which is when we were talking about best story stuff, I'd asked if you wanted to possibly put that game on the list, and you kind of shook your head and was like, nah, I'm not sure. And I'm curious because it seems like the storytelling is a huge part of like what you liked about this game and what you respect most about it. Is there a reason why you didn't necessarily want to nominate it for that category?
Yeah, it's kind of the problem I had with Control, where like the main plot beats,
Like the actual murder mystery is not
it is the weakest part of that game, but it's kind of by intention because it's more about like the world building and the small side quests here and there, where like I appreciate all those things, but like if I was to sit here and tell you like the story beat by beat of what your character like has to do over the course of the game, it wouldn't be.
But this is exactly what I meant yesterday in that category, though, that we can't be too narrow-minded about what constitutes a story in a video game, because it is not like every other linear narrative medium on the planet. You know, it's not a novel or a film. Like, in some sense, everything in a video game is part of the story. So even if it's like side characterization, side quests, documents, whatever, like it's still contributing to an overall message or, you know, set of themes or whatever it is the game's trying to convey.
And,
like,
in this case,
it all counts is what I'm saying.
And in this case, it sounds like, you know, the hook here is more about a specific character development than it is like a larger overarching plot. I do think that is worth considering. Like Brad said, I think that is a thing that's worth putting into that consideration. I'm not saying we need to go back and add it to that category or have that discussion again. I was curious because the things you are describing sound like, you know, the story and the character work, specifically your character and how that develops based on your decisions, is a big part of what makes that game fly.
Yeah, I guess I just like from a very like realistic sense, like I appreciate story in the sense of like a good storytelling. Like I'm more compelled to like a Judgment kind of where it's like, this is the plot A, B, and C. And I knew since I was the only one who finished Disco Elysium, and I'm not even really considering that to be one of my top 3 quote unquote stories, I wouldn't fight for it there.
Fair enough.
Here's my question. If that game were to move up, what would come down? Also bearing in mind there are 3 other games here.
I don't know if we have to have that discussion yet. Though,
Well,
do we?
Jan, can you scroll up?
the reason I ask is that I think of all 4 of these games down here, at least one person is going to make a strong push, so we could
Yeah, I mean,
we could just move all of those up. That's kind of what I meant. Like,
personally, it's like I could see it taking the place of a Bloodstained, a Baba Is You, or even a Hypnospace.
that's what I mean. Like, somebody is going to dig their heels
or
in
RE2, but just because I hadn't played it.
over just about everything here.
Yeah.
Well, I think those top 5 are pretty unassailable at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's like a situation where I would certainly take it over an RE2, but that's just not going to fly here.
Is
Yeah.
it? I mean, I'd say we haven't really talked
That
about
was
RE2.
one
You
of
guys
the
seem fucking
strong.
weird
Yeah.
about Resident Evil 2.
Resident Evil 2,
No, I mean, look,
it
here's the
is
thing.
a fantastic
I think
game.
that remake is fantastic, and I'm not saying it definitely doesn't belong here because I think there is enthusiasm for it, but we haven't really talked that much about it, and it's like I think that at the very least we should consider that as far as like as much as anything else we are talking about here because we haven't really dug into the nitty gritty of this.
We did during the recap though. Like that was the purpose of the recap. It's an exceptional remake that captures the spirit of the original while leaving the more antiquated elements in the past.
Yeah.
It feels modern, but also like a nice throwback. It looks amazing. It's got incredible atmosphere. It's got a great map.
But do all of those things necessarily put it above some of the other games on
It is
this
like
list?
one
That's
of
the
the
thing I'm
best
not sure
playing
about.
games from this year.
Okay.
Like hands down to me.
And it's everything you would possibly want from a remake.
Yeah,
Like, I
it's
enjoyed my time with
I
it.
feel like the thing I would say about it is it's so close. It's close enough to the Resident Evil thing that I didn't like it the same way I don't like any other Resident Evil game, even the original RE2. Like it's cool they modernized that stuff. Like I think it looks fucking phenomenal.
If we had a
But-
just straight up best looking game, it easily would have been in contention for that.
I have zero affinity for that thing. But I would have said that before it came out also. And then I played it and I was like, yep, okay. Rookie cop Leon S. Kennedy got a second shot at it, but I still don't like it.
It's like the best of all, like the things that make Resident Evil special and great. Like it's got the format and the setting of RE2, kind of that classic, Resident Evil, and then it's got that perspective of 4, which I think is the best playing Resident Evil. But then everything just feels kind of modernized, and like if it came out, if that was Resident Evil 8, I would have absolutely loved it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If I hadn't played 2 before,
Right.
See, I feel like the conversation to actually chop away at that has to, it's where I say I think Resident Evil 4 is not a good game also.
I mean, like
One of the best games of all time.
at some point, we have
as
to.
someone who just played
I'd have to
Resident Evil
dig through
4,
that.
it's fine.
At the time,
At the time, it was
Sure,
it was
I absolutely-
It was a fucking revelation.
Boy,
See,
playing it now.
I thought the shooting was fucking terrible in a different way
that's
than the previous
fine.
games. Like it was just
We can't
mean,
relive
yeah,
2004
exactly.
right
Yeah, I
now.
know.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
you have a minority opinion on Resident Evil.
that's
like,
why
yes,
I'm not
yes.
like I'm not like fucking beating down the door to pull this thing from the list.
what I will say about RE2, I loved my time with Resident Evil 2. It is absolutely on my top 10 list, and I think there is a strong argument to be made for it to be on the top 10 list. I did not enjoy my time with Disco Elysium. I got so much harassment that it'll always mar my experience with that game either way, but it does seem to be doing a lot of new stuff, which I think is worth rewarding. Like, I think there's something really interesting about how it tells the story that, I don't know, seems like it's maybe more interesting than just like a really good remake.
I think it's worth considering still, certainly. I don't think it should be cut off
Yeah, I
this
mean,
list at all.
Somebody's going to argue that every one of these games should be considered.
Yeah, I think the other thing I'd say is like Disco Elysium. I think does some really cool shit. I do not think it will revolutionize the role playing game because I think once you start to scale this, it's the same. It's the reason why the game takes place on a city block.
Yeah.
Like it's the reason why no other games do this is because they're telling larger stories in larger places that to have all those thoughts tie together and keep all those threads, you end up with the Outer Worlds. At that
Sure.
point.
I don't think it's necessarily going to like trickle up to the AAA, but I think we're going to see some other,
I would love
smaller
to
scale.
see other small scale games like explore.
And, like this is the
these
studio's
ideas.
first game, which is crazy when you think about like how much dialogue and stuff there must be in this game.
Yeah, I think it's cool as hell. Like I don't think that's necessarily like a huge knock against it, but I don't think that this stuff is necessarily going to like change the world. I think you have some people out there talking about Disco Elysium like this changes everything. Like no, super does not.
It's just a very it's iterative of other CRPGs.
Absolutely.
Like,
I also think it does have some antiquated CRPG mechanics as far as like the movement and sort of the traversal through the world that I found a little tedious, that I think is very much just like a CRPG
like clicking
thing.
to move around.
Like, yeah, I don't think it needed that. It just was so slow.
I think actually, yeah. I mean, you can kind of double click to run, but even that just seems like.
Yeah, and I had some
think
issues with like
the movement around the
levels
world
and-
was a little slow. Like I would almost rather it be like a point and click adventure style.
So
it's like
Yes,
click
that's
on the
kinda how I
guy.
feel.
And,
It's weird.
and
It is a mix of point and click adventure and
Yeah.
CRPG. I see everybody calling it a CRPG, obviously because it has the role playing mechanics in it. But
and you walk around
very much
but
point
yeah,
and click adventure.
But it's like it's point and click, but it's like click and then wait for the guy to walk over there and then activate the thing. But it is like
But it also
literally
gives you-
like hotspots highlighted
Well,
on
you're
the screen
getting
of what you can
inventory
interact
stuff
with
to use on
totally.
puzzles.
the walking around stuff is important because you will be walking and you'll have the like thought bubbles pop
Right,
up
you
around
need
your
that
head
time
that you click
to-
on
right,
and
yeah.
like be like you will observe like bullet holes that are in the wall, and then that'll launch you into a whole thing about the history of this town and the communist revolution, and like this is where they lined people up and executed them,
Yeah.
and you can still see the bullets in the wall.
But surely there's a way to have the movement feel a little more modernized and still show like here are points of interest
the-
that isn't just like click
They actually
or double
they
click.
do points of interest really well,
Yeah.
like by
Yeah, you
highlighting.
can tab
like,
at any
I hate to
time.
ask this, but does the walk speed ever increase?
you run. You
Just double click to run.
Okay.
Yeah,
But like
it's-
the
it's
point
fine.
and click
It's a
adventure
minor
games have
point,
done
I
this
think.
a billion times.
I
of,
watched a video on this. It takes literally 2 minutes to run from one side of the map to the other. That's
I agree. It feels weird having played a lot of point and click adventure games and having played CRPGs in the past.
like they could have streamlined like this little aspect.
you could have done
the
the thing where you hold the mouse button down and move point in a
Totally.
direction,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like that's where you go.
I would have loved to play this game with a controller.
Yeah, there's that way. I like Disco Elysium a lot. I haven't made it through it, whether that's a fault of the game or I just haven't had the time to do it. The thing I would maybe replace it with on the list is Baba. Like that's the one on here that I could swap out.
Like personally, like I was, I was advocating for Baba, but I would personally put Disco Elysium above Baba as you. So I think I can back that.
There's a fair amount of frustration with Baba from most people here.
But then I put Luigi's Mansion 3
It's a
in.
game that I thought was extremely clever, but did
Yeah,
not
it
really
is.
like much. Like I'm in the minority on that. I think I understand what it is people really like about that game, and I do think the cleverness of its design is very much a boon. But like, part of it is my frustration with puzzle games. Like I bang my head against these sorts of things, and it infuriates me.
It's very much a bang your head against it sort of thing too.
Yeah.
Like it's very much a oh shit, I've used up all my brain juice for the day. I have to quit and come back tomorrow.
And there's
to
no
make
like
any progress at all.
There's no way to get a hint because it's kind of either like you
Yeah.
know the solution or you
Right.
don't.
Yeah, I wish that there was some. I mean, you go look up solutions, but then you're just
Right.
like, then you're not doing the
Like,
fucking knowledge, and then
even-
you don't know, and then the next level you're double fucked.
Yeah, like Outer Wilds is a similar. It's like a puzzle game also, but you can like be gently guided towards where to go versus like either very binary. You either
Yeah.
don't know how to solve this puzzle or you do.
I don't know. I don't know.
I really like Baba. I think it's such a neat concept.
Yeah.
Extrapolated into a puzzle game.
Well,
But there's a lot of good stuff on here. It's the one I think I just personally feel maybe that and Modern Warfare just because I've mostly played the multiplayer and it's a very good Call of Duty multiplayer. And I haven't played any Ring Fit Adventure because
Is it a cool multiplayer thing?
It is a very cool multiplayer thing that has been refined.
Yeah. Refined
over the
multiplayer
last
thing of the year.
15
horde
years.
mode.
Yeah. No.
All right. I need to know before we move forward here. Is Luigi's Mansion 3 not going to make this list?
I wouldn't put it on there.
I bounced immediately off of it.
It's
But
my
how do you bounce
it's my
off
10.
Wow. Man.
Okay.
My 10 and
It's probably like
I just want to know who's in this room right now.
Conceptually,
it's a great game.
Conceptually, I love the idea of Luigi's Mansion being in our top 10. In practice, there were a couple things I was a little disappointed by with it.
All right.
I would say I beat-
it's good to know who you work with.
I beat it a couple days ago. I'll say throughout the entire experience, I was pretty much just like smiling and having a good time. But there weren't any real low lows, but there also weren't any things where it's like, oh man, this is really
Was it
doing
a big
it here.
smile?
you know?
Somebody show me the smile. Let's see that. Okay. Now, so now you describe that smile to me.
You
So
look
the
so
folks at home-
natural.
Okay.
It's a little
I don't know.
tepid. It's a little,
I think he's pretty happy.
There's kind of
Oh, you just got to the good part.
you
You can
saw
see
something cute.
I've seen him watch like wrestling outtakes takes, and the
he's
smile gets a
puzzled.
lot bigger.
There it is.
He's got this.
I still think it's a top 10 smile.
This kind of
Luigi's Mansion is like if my list as it currently stands. Luigi's Mansion is like my number 3 of the year. Like that game is just really the joyfulness of it, the goofiness of it. Like it really won me over very fast, and I don't know. Like it just to me, it's paced.
It's
paced
very
super well.
I think. It was the most fun of that I had with a video game.
Like it might have been my number
year.
2 if that last boss fight weren't as much annoying as it was. You know, like every other part of that game, I was really happy with.
I think even the early bosses that I've seen in that game are not fun.
I don't think they're that bad.
I
think
did
they're
not
fine.
enjoy the boss fights in that game.
Hey, games don't have to be fun, Brad.
That's a good point.
Some games are just challenging.
Nintendo games
Some
do.
games are just real.
Some games are real.
There's a moment in that game, and I didn't enjoy any of the boss fights, but there's a specific moment in the game, I think it's when you first get to the sewers, where Dr. Egad shows you found footage of a toad running through the sewers, and I just like what it opens up of a possibility of like, I would watch a found footage style horror movie from a toad's perspective, and it's still like nailing that charm the whole time of like, okay, I'm a little scared. What's going to happen here? And it's, I don't know, like the designs of like the ghosts don't do anything super different, but like it's incredibly charming, and I think it's also one of like the best looking Switch games.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
It's also the only Nintendo game that has or probably ever will have a direct Ringu reference in it.
and just the variety.
Oh, you
like,
should play Ring Fit.
Yeah.
like every single time the elevator doors opened on a new floor, I had that excitement of like, what's this one gonna be? You know, because the themed floors thing I think really works for it and makes it I think way better than the last 2 Luigi's Mansions.
Yeah, it's the best one of those games by far.
I still like the first one the best.
Yeah,
The first one's great.
yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
As someone who hasn't played either of these games, would you pick a Luigi's Mansion over, say, a Bloodstained?
No.
Is Bloodstained a lock for this list?
Bloodstained might be my game of the year. I still it probably won't be, but it's so close. Here's the thing: as a huge Symphony of the Night fan, I think this should have been the most predictable thing in the world. I think best case scenario, this game comes out and it feels like Symphony of the Night. And that's
all.
it. That's what
and you
people
kind of look at it, you gotta go, huh, all right,
Yeah,
cool.
they did it.
They did that thing.
This reminds me of Symphony of the Night. That game I like a lot. I think that was what most people thought like was the best case scenario for the Kickstarter and the game and everything.
Yeah.
For something that should have been so predictable, I was constantly surprised by that game. And just how weird it was willing to get, how many little Easter eggs and secrets and just odd little things. You're getting lightsabers and flying swords and there's dogs and cats and stuff.
That thing sounds insane.
It is completely nuts.
And it's all so fucking cool.
Yes, a weirdly deep cooking system that has like a really good impact on the game and everything. Just, I found it fun to just grind over and over, like try to get my luck stat up and grind.
Yeah,
for,
heretical
like,
grinder's good.
I wish I would use that thing. But no, just running around just trying to get milk and cheese and potatoes and make a pizza or whatever. Like, it's so many dumb little things.
Brad, games don't have to be fun.
Multi-stage cooking. I got to cook a thing to cook another thing.
Yeah, I got to break down my
pizza
equipment
crust
with an
and
alkahest. And then like weird mobility stuff that you get that just kind of breaks it. Like that game is willing to go just all out in a way I didn't
I
expect.
do like a game that's willing to break itself.
It totally did. In a way that like
yeah.
Symphony of the Night even did.
Yeah.
Like, could just straight up go off the screen and
Yes.
like,
Yep.
float off into eternity.
Flip the screen upside down, you fight a boss from the ceiling, and
To me,
you can't
it
fuck with
sounds
you.
to me it sounds like if Symphony of the Night decided to embrace its camp,
Yeah.
like and just go all the way with it.
Well, and even like the shard system, that isn't something like there are a ton of weapons and equipment and stuff in Symphony of the Night.
Yeah.
But there are a billion fucking shards. Like
lot of
all these things
shards.
that he has done in his playthrough, I didn't even like see or use most of them, and it's so interesting. Like I loved the from the DS ones. They had that spirit thing where it's like Portrait of Ruin and those games where you'd get the spirit of you'd kill a skeleton, you'd get to throw a bone or whatever.
Yeah.
This does that, but with way more, and then each one of them has these different ranks and grades and everything that you can
The
use
more
to
you
level
use
it
it,
up.
the more it powers up, but then you can also boost it by grinding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, like,
ridiculous
I think
how much stuff this game does.
Bloodstained is clearly going to be on this list.
I think it
I
belongs.
feel
Yeah,
very
totally.
passionate
Like,
about that.
I'd have no problem with that.
To the Yammer?
What who?
The Yammer.
Oh,
Move it up.
yeah.
Let's move it up.
It's a good bucket.
To the top.
If,
Oh,
if-
wow.
Top half.
if
The
it's
hammer.
there.
Yeah.
This.
The Yammer Hammer.
I'm pretty good with moving it.
This is getting tough.
I feel like you moved that up. The sanctity of the Yammers now.
No, the Yammer is eventually going to be where all the Hammers
I feel
go.
like they used to just let the good games.
We're going to drop the hammer.
Wow.
We're only picking bad games this year.
Oh, okay.
Outer Wilds. Congratulations.
Oh,
It's the best of all games.
Am I going to have to throw down the Austin Walker filibuster for Judgment? Is that how this is going to have to
I
go?
don't know, man.
I think what you said about Judgment makes it sound fucking killer, and I want to play way more of it than I have.
Yeah. It's just so good.
A lot of fucking good ass games on this list, though.
There are.
man.
It does have its faults. I am enjoying that game tremendously. But like the detective work in that game, I think, is like kind of half thought.
It's on rails. Like there is not a lot of investigating in that game. They are telling a detective story, but it is not, strictly speaking, a detective game.
Right, but you're still doing stuff like trailing a suspect, where you have to like move your stick left or right to dodge crowds of people, and you have to scan a room, which is just like, okay, what am I looking for? And hearing that they do less of that as it goes along, it's great.
Yeah, there's a little of it here and there, but for the most part, like the core action of that game is going from place to place and beating dudes' heads in.
I think Judgment and Disco are games I'm going to really enjoy in 2020. So I feel bad having them on being at this point in them because I just didn't have the time. They're also pretty long games to invest time into. So they seem, both of those games. Like I played.
Is Judgment like Yakuza long? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said it's like 60
it's like
hours.
a full on.
I probably spent somewhere between 50 and 60 in it.
And how long was your Disco playthrough? Do you
It's
know?
like 25-ish hours.
Okay,
I wanna
I
say.
thought maybe further than that than maybe I thought.
Am I the only one in the room that got hooked by Tetris 99?
I think it's really neat.
I think it's neat.
I respect the hell out of that thing.
and burned out.
I still boot it up, every few weeks or so, play a few rounds, and I have fun with it. But like I can't say that like I got super addicted to it
It's
at
just
any point.
the amount of depth and technique they were able to give to this bizarre 99 player mode is what gets me about it. It's not like, yes, it's audacious to say, hey, we made Tetris a battle royale, but like, it's beyond,
they cooked up really fascinating rules to make that a real thing.
this could have sucked.
It's not a dumb novelty that they made it.
I think the moment that clicked for me was when I finally realized that dropping a bunch of singles in a row is better in some situations than just going for Tetrises, because that's what you always do when you play Tetris, right? Just want to get as many Tetrises as you can. That's the name of the game. But like, you know what I mean? They put new wrinkles in there that kind of change up the way you play.
I'm
the
just
stuff.
very bad at Tetris.
I mean, I was too when I had to get way better at that game.
I appreciate
that's why that game is basically the reason I modded that D-pad into my Joy-Con was to
Competitive
play
Tetris.
Tetris better.
I think it's kind of hurt by the fact that it was a free game, because I think if it was like a $20 game and they added some more
You had to pay
mode-
Nintendo $20 to
It's only
access.
10. No, it's 10 for. Oh, you mean the service?
online
service,
service,
yes.
yeah.
The add-on DLC was only $10.
I wish there was just a little more to do in there, because even Tetris Effect, once you got through the story, there were all those other modes that you could play and kind of cycle around and stuff. I think I played it really hardcore for a week and then deleted it off to free space and then never re-downloaded it.
It's pretty thin. I mean, do you think the DLC adds significant content, or is it just kind of? It's cool that it has a single player.
I don't know why they even bothered adding AI modes to that thing.
Yeah.
Because who is playing that thing to play AI Tetris?
Well, it's like maybe you're somewhere where you don't have internet. And the game at launch didn't do anything if you didn't have internet. So,
but even the
CPU,
even on a high difficulty, is not going to play creatively the way that real players do. So I just didn't find. If you're on an airplane, maybe sure.
I mean, the thing I'll say is that despite this coming out this year and being the newest and hottest Tetris thing, I spent a lot more time this year playing Tetris Effect than I did playing Tetris 99.
Well, they're just so different,
Oh, they totally are.
They're both Tetris but yet serve different needs.
I just think that Tetris Effect spoke to me a lot more than this one did.
It was I loved that it came out 3 months after Tetris Effect, because it felt like literally the other shoe dropping on the return of Tetris.
Yeah.
It's like we got cool contemplative Tetris last year, and now we got hard as fuck sadistic Tetris,
frantic multiplayer Tetris.
Yeah, so
IP of the decade, Tetris.
They did add stuff over not the AI shit, the daily quests and the
that's
you
in
tell me
service of hey, keep playing the multiplayer because you're going to get the currency to get this stuff.
It's really just the original mode and the Invictus variant are really the things that are worth doing there. And I enjoyed unlocking. I got every weekend event skin that they put out, and some of those skins are fantastic. And I got some of the more recent ones too. But skins and icons are about all there are to unlock.
Yeah, I guess I would say that it's it's a weird thing to say about Tetris because on some level of course, but it's maybe a little one note for my tastes. I got to a point where it's okay, I've played enough of this. I forgot about it, honestly.
Let me lay this one on you. I think of Tetris 99 as the Quake of Tetris.
Quake of Tetris.
Predictive, the Quake world of Tetris?
No, just the regular Quake. No, I mean, just in that it does that one thing, but it is so exhilarating every time I play it that I keep coming back to it. But
but Quake had a whole campaign and 4 episodes.
The Quake campaign is
Quake 2.
At the time, the Quake campaign was fine. It's easy to go back now and you're like, oh, the Quake campaign. But
I don't think I even finished it. Anyway,
I'm always saying that. I'm always saying, oh, the Quake campaign.
Quake campaign.
Quake is multiplayer to me, and so is this. You know what I mean? Like this is the thing that I just like higher brain shuts down and like lizard brain takes over, and you just play at 1,000 miles an hour competitively with other people. You know,
It's a bummer that I can't, and this is more of a fault of the Switch than the game itself, but I play my Switch a lot on the subway, and I can't play Tetris 99 on there.
apparently, well, yeah, Underground. I guess this. Apparently, I don't think I've tried. I might have tried this, but I've definitely seen enough people saying tethering to your phone is a fine way to play this.
Okay. Maybe I'll
No,
try
I have
that.
done that actually. I take that back. That totally works.
Okay.
That in a pinch, if you really need it.
I feel like that's almost more the fault of the system.
Yeah,
also.
no, that's
Yeah,
definitely,
yeah.
definitely.
Well, you know, it's like if
Switch
this was on any other platform, that wouldn't even be an option. You know, you wouldn't be able to take it with you at all.
but
You know,
it's-
but
the Switch is handheld.
sure,
Yeah, right. I don't. Yeah.
if you say so.
Yeah,
it's a
I've never taken
complicated
that thing out of
issue,
the dock.
but it's
So.
an issue nonetheless.
I only play
don't-
mine handheld.
I don't know. It's a top 5 game for me, and I.
What would you-
think-
what
I think
would
the amount.
you-
Well, I mean, I was going to say I don't know that there's anything
What would you take off of this list? What you would take Hypnospace Outlaw?
like most
brazen.
I mean, anything I would take off the list is stuff I haven't played, so I don't know how I can make that judgment.
Well, of all the things you
speaking of
haven't
judgments,
played,
you can make.
Wow. I know how much everybody loves Call of Duty in here. But
I
holy,
don't.
That fucking co-op mode, holy shit.
It was busted. It was bad. Like that's why if we're keeping Call of Duty on here, it's like it's low on the list.
Yeah. I want to play the
Despite
campaign.
Yeah.
The campaign's fantastic.
What I saw of the campaign looks interesting enough that I still want to go play it.
you mean the
You know,
completely non-political campaign.
yeah, sure.
But like that, I think that multiplayer is super fucking strong.
I do too, and I'm not usually one for the
Okay,
Call
I
of Duty
guess there's enough
multiplayer. Since Modern
enthusiasm.
Warfare,
like I played
yeah.
enough of it to like I get that it's really well made, but it sure does do the Call of Duty thing again.
It's like the devil is in the details on that
Yeah,
stuff. And
I
the new
guess,
modes they
yeah.
added, like they
Gunfight
found a way to
is-
split the different. Yeah, gunfight's really good, but also they found a way to split the difference between the regular modes and the hardcore modes with something they call realism.
Okay, yeah. I mean that stuff is just over my head as far as my experience with.
Yeah, they've like the night vision modes in multiplayer are really
that's
fucking
wild.
fascinating.
Okay.
And
There's
it's
just-
stuff where like when you aim down sights in the night vision modes, your laser sight is seen by other players. So
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
so it becomes
Yeah.
like, okay, now you have to strategically decide when you're going to aim down sights because you're giving away your position.
Okay. That actually sounds
It's like really
legitimately
fascinating
interesting.
shit that they put in there.
Okay. Yeah. There's some detail there that I haven't seen. So maybe that stays for now then.
We are going to have to start making some hard cuts here.
I still think
I think Tetris 99 probably isn't going to make it. You fucker. I'm sorry. I don't think it is.
Piece of shit.
That's fine. No, that's fine. I like get it all out right now to me. I'm giving you permission.
Oh my god, he's hitting you in the face. Oh my god.
Whatever anger you've got, just bring it to me.
You historic monster. You worm.
Yeah.
Class traitor.
Anything else?
Oh, I'm spent.
All right.
Capitalist.
I really think
Wow. Wow.
this Luigi's Mansion game.
It's all the rage with the kids.
I really was excited about a new Luigi's Mansion. I need,
take it off.
I need to give it another shot.
Stop it. Take it.
The last thing I'll say
Vinny
is
can't hear this.
I need to give it another shot. But that first 45 minutes where you're kind of wandering around aimlessly is just like
we don't need to do this.
We get it.
We have
I mean,
Nice work.
put it in the Bammer.
there are Vinny. There, I would broken.
two more to go.
I will say this, Vinny. I would take Luigi over most of the games that are in the middle area right now.
Well, then
Like Baba is you.
Then what are we doing?
I'd take Luigi over Baba.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I
me
would take
too.
Luigi over
Okay,
Baba.
that
All right.
Put it on.
Yeah.
put it on the list.
Jan,
Bye, Baba.
Look, here's the thing. It's not that we have to put it on, but I don't think Baba is going to make it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well,
yeah,
Jan-
but
Jan's
also
the only
like,
one
I
that
think
finished
Disco
it.
Elysium is the move, not Luigi's Mansion.
I would.
Okay, hold up. Can
probably
I
support
I put Baba in the actual Bammer?
Baba is
yes.
Bammer.
Put Baba.
Wow.
Baba
That
is
was
Bammer.
quick.
Got two games we would take over it, and
Baba is Bammer.
I mean, I was kind of
Fair.
deferring to Jan on that one because he's the only one that finished
Yeah,
it. But
yeah.
if even he is saying it goes, then
I also would
Baba
like
doesn't
to,
have Guigi.
I would like to see Disco and Judgment make it just from the arguments I've heard for it.
But you played Luigi's.
I played Luigi's. I love that game. I think it's fantastic. It'll probably be mid-tier to upper on my personal list. But like, I don't know if I love it as much as you love Disco or you love Judgment. Like, it didn't change my life. It was just a super fun.
Well, Judgment
fun game.
did. To be fair, Judgment did not change my life.
Disco Elysium changed. I'm a cop now. We're both cops now. It's great.
I just think Luigi's Mansion is super solid, and I think that co-op is some of the best on to play with younger gamers or people who don't play games a lot.
Well, hang on, before we get there, I mean, is Ring Fit a lock?
Yes.
I think so.
Is Hypnospace a lock?
Hypnospace is probably the other one I would have the conversation about.
Yeah.
like it's lower on my top 10 list, but it's probably on there.
I love that thing, but when I think about Disco Elysium and Judgment, like I think both those games belong on the 10 before Hypnospace.
Yeah, Hypnospace is very high on my list. I really liked it. Obviously, I'm like the only one who finished it, but like I think it's like novel and interesting.
It's very novel. It's they nail that thing, and then on top of that, they take it in some really cool directions.
Yes,
and
it genuinely made me laugh
really
more
funny.
than probably any other game on here. But like, it could have done with a little more or something. I don't know.
Okay.
I wish there was a little
the
more.
pace of it could be a little
Yeah.
tighter
I
in some spots.
I wish there was a little more game in it. The game is really good at propelling you into the jokes, the sights, like all
I had to use a walkthrough several times during it, which is a bummer.
I feel like most of the stuff that the people who like Hypnospace like about it would be just as effective if it was a URL you typed into a browser and just clicked around a fake internet.
I don't know
like,
if that's
I don't hear a lot of praise for the gameplay.
The gameplay is fine.
I like the desktop stuff. The desktop stuff is really fun. Getting
It's nice.
viruses.
Well, I mean, you
And
could
like
build all that
getting
in a
money
browser,
and being
but-
like, I'm going to download this
Dragging
weird thing they have on
your
their
pet's
site.
poop into the
Yeah,
trash.
just for
Hey, I
fun.
can play Red Dead 2 in a browser.
Yeah, I mean, Bob is
sounds
you
fun.
can play in a browser. So
Yeah.
Right, but I mean, like, what I mean is like as a joke web page instead of a video game, because like, the actual playing it.
It's the plot of it.
Yeah.
It's the.
I don't think you're too far off,
but yeah, like you're right that some of these things could absolutely be done as a web app, but
Right.
like that's not.
I think there's also there are a lot of games that are very story driven that like you could probably see in a video or web app similarly that would still be impactful. That I don't think that's a fair.
I like a fake OS, and this is has
Yeah,
a
I
good
do
fake
too,
OS.
and I appreciate like I played it a bit, and like I definitely went to a lot of GeoCities wrestling sites, and so like all those jokes and everything played for me. I was like, okay, yeah, they got a lot of this stuff right. I just didn't think the actual stuff you're doing. in that
Okay,
game was that
I
interesting.
severely overestimated how much people wanted Hypnospace on the list, so that sounds like it's going in the Bammer.
Yeah, it's going to the Bammer, but here's the thing. There's rarely been a game that I think is more specifically targeted at the people sitting at this particular table. And I respect how much that we are the audience for that game. I think they feel more strongly about other stuff on here.
Yeah,
okay.
that's the thing.
All right.
Congratulations to the 11th best game of the year.
Yeah.
Was that 11 or was that 12?
I think we're at.
That was
I think we're
12.
now at 11.
We're
now at 11.
now is the
What do we
real
got?
hard choice.
So, like,
Brad, what are our 11 games for the people at home?
well, the top that seems to be locked in are Control, Outer Wilds, RE2, MK11, Apex, and Bloodstained.
and then our bottom.
Bottom five.
Ring Fit, Call of Duty, Luigi's Mansion, Disco Elysium, and Judgment. So one of
We
those has to.
really like the Ring. I'm
Yeah.
not saying the Ring
Yeah.
is bad.
Really.
It's the one game on here I have not touched at all.
I think what I will say about it is what I said earlier, which is that like Nintendo finally made a competent workout game. Like it is very fun, it's very charming, it's really solid and well done throughout. It's also very simple. You don't need a lot of equipment, you don't need a lot of space, and it still works really well. I feel like I am working a ton of parts of my body. I feel like I can make a targeted workout as well as, they're sort of like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to play your adventure mode and still get a full workout. Like it kicks your ass in a way that I really appreciate.
When you said they finally made a competent workout game, it made me realize how many times they have tried to do that.
Yes.
Not just Nintendo.
Like,
but
I didn't
everyone's-
actually.
EA and Ubisoft.
Well, yeah, but Nintendo in particular
Nintendo,
has been.
they love doing
And
that
it's funny
shit.
because this is
They've
the
been
year
doing
they
it-
shut down their health.
They've been trying to.
yeah.
They've been doing it for 30 years. I didn't really think about that.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
All you had to do was tape a Joy-Con to a Pilates ring.
Yeah. But like, how does it handle?
And
I
one
mean,
to your leg.
as a as a video game, as the like the adventure part of Ring Fit Adventure.
That's the stuff that kind of shocked me the most. Was like I by the time I had got my hands on it, I had seen a lot of people being like, "Wow, it's a real workout!" Like I'm impressed by how physical it is. But then the thing that really surprised me the most is they're like, okay, different types of exercise. Like these are the blue enemies, and they're weak to leg exercises, and these are the red enemies, and they're weak to your upper body exercises, and then like. Each of the different exercises has a range, which is how many enemies they can hit. So you actually, if you want to sit there like me and like somebody who played like Persona, for example, and kind of think out your turns and try and really min-max your like, okay, if I do the red exercise that hits 3 people, that's probably going to bring these 2 guys down to half health. And like there is that depth there. There's like the item system. There's an equipment system.
And it's absolutely more of a workout than a game, but I still think that both aspects of it work really well and they work well together.
You would need both.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like if you were just playing with a controller, it probably wouldn't be much of a game.
No, absolutely
but
not.
if you just had the Pilates ring,
it could be like
do 20 of these.
If it was just a workout, it could be a YouTube video. That was like, here's a
What's the
workout.
deal with like fail states? Like if you fail against a boss or something, or like some random enemies.
That happens, and you do level up, and it'll like increase your like attack and defense and stuff. So like I died to
How
the
much?
dragon
Like,
boss at one point, and like you just kicked my ass, and I leveled up a bunch and came back. It's an RPG,
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not even just like, video games, traditional video games have been trying to gamify exercise for so long to varying degrees of success. But even like at gyms and stuff, they try it where it's like, there's bikes and stuff, like little games that they'll put on the
iPhone
screen.
apps.
Like I feel like the exercise industry has tried to figure out how to do this. Well, apps will do like, it's like an RPG quest where you get XP and quests for doing burning calories. This is the best gamification of exercise I've ever seen, just period.
Absolutely. And it feels like I have a whole gym in my home.
Okay.
Wow, you're like the Peloton lady from that commercial.
That joke is going to be incredibly dated by the time people.
Yeah, no, I know. It's already over.
That's a tradition.
All right, let's do the yay or nothing method again on this bottom 5. Now that people have heard arguments for games they have not played.
Okay, wait.
Let's just see.
So are we just? Is it a simple numbers thing at this point?
Kinda. Well,
Is it ever?
it's less numbers and more enthusiasm.
We also maybe
So I can scream really loud.
Well,
for the
yes,
games
but
I
I'm
like.
going to take.
You don't have to.
Just one
Just
person
have a
mic.
microphone.
We may be due for a break soon, so I don't know.
I really would like to try to get us to our 10
Okay.
if we can.
All right.
Okay.
So these are things that we'd like to see move up into the.
We have
have six
we
right
have
now.
6 games that are not going anywhere, and we have 5, so one of these has to go.
Okay.
And too many of these have only been played by 1 or 2 people,
Okay.
and so that makes it difficult. Ring Fit Adventure.
Yay!
Okay. Call of Duty.
Yay!
Oh boy.
Okay. Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
You guys are fucking this up. It's getting hard to tell.
Yeah, this is a bad system.
It was fine the
worked
first
before.
time.
Yeah, it doesn't work anymore.
the first
That's because
round.
everybody's trying to break it now. Disco Elysium.
Yay!
Yeah, see, that's a little more subdued. Judgment.
Yay!
Okay, that's like 2 people.
Oh, come on.
I think
Alex, I really hate that they're making us do this, but I think it's coming down to Judgment versus Disco.
that's what it sounded like. to me.
And the thing I will say about Disco versus Judgment, and I'm only going to say one thing because I like both
That's a
these
great
games.
sentence, by the way. Disco versus Judgment. Go on.
Judgment is a really smart and really good iteration on the Yakuza series of games. I think this is the best they have ever been, but it is kind of this known quantity that has been pushed to new heights. But I think Disco Elysium is. I mean, I admittedly have not played a lot of traditional RPGs like this, but it is something I have never seen.
I mean, if we were to just award points for originality, like clearly Disco
Well,
takes an edge there.
okay. But this is my call-out post on this.
Go ahead.
It's not that I think Judgment is as or more original than Disco Elysium. That's not the argument I'll make there. The thing I will say is that that is an argument you could very easily apply to Luigi's Mansion. That is an argument you could definitely apply to Call of Duty.
Well, yeah,
so we
but
should both
those
knock
games
those
got more
down.
enthusiasm. Like,
I understand
that's what
that.
I'm saying. Like,
But I'm also saying I just don't think that is actually a knock against it, because we are definitely looking at games here that are iterating on very well-worn territory, doing it well. Like, that's why they're in this list.
Mm-hmm.
I think the issue here seems to be that no one else has the enthusiasm for it that I do. It's going to be a real bummer if my number 1 game of the year does not find it this way anywhere on the top 10. is
Alex, that's exactly how I feel right now.
Yeah, and I'm not
he's
saying
in the same position.
Yeah, I know you're in the same position. And again, like I'm not advocating that Disco Elysium has to go. Like that's not the
You're saying
argument I
Luigi's
want to make.
Mansion 3
Yeah,
should.
that's where I'm at.
I
is
think
Luigi's
Call of
Mansion
Duty
is
should
the
go
game that should
personally,
go.
but that's not going to be an argument that I will win. I understand that.
I don't think Call of Duty is going to go anywhere.
Yeah, I recognize that, and I think that
I could see Call of Duty go.
I could also
I mean,
see
make
Call of
the
Duty
argument.
go.
I mean,
Yeah,
like it's-
if like for me, I didn't do the campaign, and I've just played the multiplayer. I think the multiplayer is really good, but I also think it's a really good Call of Duty multiplayer. And again, this is just my personal take on it. Having only played some of Judgment, some of Disco, and a decent amount of Modern Warfare, Call of Duty is great. It's super fun. I've probably been more engaged with it in the time I spent with it than either. I really like Judgment and I like Disco. I don't know.
Yeah, I think with Call of Duty, for me,
they're all
it's
doing
like
such different things.
There's a lot of new shit in there in the competitive multiplayer. I think the crossplay really goes a long way. I think having no season pass and just drop they just put a bunch of additional maps in the game. Like they've added something like 5 maps or more since the game came out. I will say that the battle pass they put out this week is bad. I don't like the way they're handling battle passes.
I think they really shot themselves in the foot by using language like classic Spec Ops. Like, fuck them.
Yeah,
Frankly,
the co-op stuff
Like,
is just
I've got,
shit.
Well,
it's just shit.
The mode being bad is one thing, but I've got so much reverence for Spec Ops from Modern
and the
Warfare
way
2
the way they promoted it ahead of release,
I was like hearing that was in there. Hearing that was in there, I was fucking excited. I was like, dude, I would love to play new Spec Ops.
It's a bad mode,
and it's terrible.
It's a game with 3 things on the menu, and one of them is just straight up bad.
Just fucking broken. Man. Like if they had delivered on that aspect of it, I would say it was like an easy lock on this list. But that being so bad,
personally, I would still take it ahead of Luigi's Mansion, but that's because I don't like any of the Luigi's Mansion games.
And I did like Luigi's Mansion 1, and I feel like 3, it just plopped me in there, and I was like lost and didn't really know what to do. I didn't play it in a great environment. We played it on Extra Life, trying to get to the co-op stuff, not knowing that doesn't unlock until like much later in the game.
Oh, so you have to get
so I was like
Luigi?
trying to go as fast as I could and like getting frustrated. I want to get back in, give it another shot. But
Because
like,
I think Luigi's Mansion 3 is so much clearer on where to go than 2. Or
I think it's
I didn't play
like
2.
I think it's linear to a fault. Like I said,
I could see that argument.
I think it's a little too
confusing.
a little too
I spent,
linear
like,
and constrained.
almost 30 minutes in that like weird parking garage at the beginning, just being completely lost.
Not realizing the door is in the
And I mean, look, as much as I don't care about Call of Duty, and that's never going to be a series that wins me over. I think the argument you can say about, for instance, that game's co-op being garbage is that like Luigi's Mansion's other multiplayer offerings are also garbage.
yeah.
The stuff that is not just the
Right.
co-op part of the campaign is a waste of anyone's time.
I would say the Luigi co-op is more, or the minigame stuff is more easily ignored. Than
Totally,
the
it's
co-op
very
in Call of
ignorable.
Duty.
But to that point though, the Scare Scraper stuff is not that terrible. The like all the Guigis running around and just playing Luigi's Mansion. It's not the thing that anybody here necessarily wants to do, but when you have, again, a very particular thing, but when you have, 5 7-year-olds over the house, it is a fun way to get everybody.
That's the thing I that all the time.
It is not terrible for what I think it's actually trying to do. The minigame shit, I think, is actual garbage.
Yeah, that stuff is not good.
That's not good.
I'd say Call of Duty from probably about Call of Duty 2 to around maybe Advanced Warfare, which is like 10 years, was every single year like the game that I was pretty much looking forward to more than anything. Like it was one of my absolute favorite series, and I really kind of fell off around like Black Ops 3, and there were I played it every year. I played all the campaigns. I'd dink around with the multiplayer a little bit, but like I feel like I just kind of lost what I loved about Call of Duty. And this one is so good that like I am back into it, and I feel like I felt when I was playing Modern Warfare 1 and 2, and like I can't wait to get back to New York and start playing a ton. It really brought Call of Duty back in a big way for me.
All right, that's a pretty strong statement.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Call of Duty ultimately being on this top 10 because I think the enthusiasm is there from multiple people. I'm saying for my personal thing, look, Luigi's Mansion and Judgment are probably both in my top 3 this year. I would put Judgment over Luigi's Mansion if I have to make that hard choice. And I don't necessarily think it has to overwrite Disco Elysium because I think your passion for it is probably very similar to what mine for Judgment is. I think there's value in both of those games being on the list.
I think like another example, I guess, real quick of what I think Disco Elysium does so well is there's a moment, it's on the second day. One of the first characters you bump into is this woman who's sleeping like 2 houses down or 2 doors down from you, and you have a very brief interaction with her, and then you don't really see her again till this moment, and then you find out she's a pretty critical witness in the murder. And so you have to interrogate her. And you start talking to her, and up to this point, there's all the different voices in your head, all the different systems, the empathy, savoir-faire, all that stuff. And they're kind of guiding you along the game at this point. Like sometimes you'll like walk up to a guy and you'll get in an argument with them, and your physical instrument, which is like your burliness, will be like, dude, you should punch him. And you're like, yeah, I should punch him. And you punch him, and then like something resolves. And you're like, yeah, that was great. So you start talking to her, and all of your emotions are going crazy. They're just all like trying to like it's the first time they really start arguing with each other, and they're like bickering and like forcing you to try and go down certain pathways. There's like a dozen different options you can choose when you're referencing her, and they're all different checks. They're all the checks that are tied to like the electrochemistry, which is like your drug thing, and it's like she probably knows where to get the good drugs. You should ask her about that and those other things. But my character had a lot of points in my volition, which is kind of like volition is like it's like your ability to like tell if somebody's lying to you. Basically, it's like your
intuition.
Intuition. Yeah, thank you. That's a good word for it. But they call it volition. The whole time your volition's going like, there's something wrong here. There's something wrong here. And like, so you can keep doing those volition checks. And I kept doing them because they were high success rate ones because I had a lot of points in volition. And you start realizing like your volition eventually tells you like, you're in love with her. Like this is all of your other emotions are going crazy right now because they are trying to get you to like hit on her or like listen to her story. And your volition's like, you need to arrest her right now. Like you need to like, you will fuck up this entire case if you do not arrest her right now. And I eventually came to like the last volition check. It was a 50-50, even though I had a ton of things. I failed it. And I was like, well, fuck. I mean, like, I can't redo it was basically like a boss fight. I was talking to her for like 40 minutes. And I failed it. And I was like, damn, okay, well, I can't. It was like basically like, do you actually really want to arrest her? Because you could totally arrest her right now. I don't do it. And boy, it like the way the story spins out from such a simple thing that could be so easily missable if I didn't have any of those volition points, like I like almost wanted to replay the entire game with my similar starting stats just so I could redo that and see how differently the story would go with Classy. I can't pronounce her name, with the woman character. And I think it's just like it's one of those examples of like a point in this game that seems like I don't know how there could be a version of this game where I did arrest her. Like what does that game look like? Because the way the world starts to shift after that one event kind of was like the first moment that I realized A, this game is way bigger than it leads on, and B, that up to this point I had just been blindly listening to the voices in my head because it's a video game, and if like a video game tells you to do something, you do it.
Right.
But now you're starting to realize like no,
it's like a dozen different unreliable narrators in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no way Ring Fit and Call of Duty are not on the list, right? That seems
I think
to be
there's enough enthusiasm from multiple
Does
people.
that seem to be where we're at?
I trust y'all's judgment on the Ring Fit.
It's a really cool.
Like I
biggest
wouldn't
surprise of
shed
the
a
year.
single tear if both of those games vanished right now, so I could go either way.
I think Ring Fit is a really
But-
there's a
but
really
there
strong
are-
case.
but
for
Ring
there
Ring
Fit's got to stay. Move it up.
But there are enough people
Ring
here.
Fit Game of the Year,
I
number
feel like,
one.
I feel like there are enough. No, you're crazy. I think there are enough people here that are really,
And
really
Call
in
of
the
Duty?
tank for that game.
Yeah.
It sounds like yes to me. It's just a numbers thing at this point. I feel like there's 4 people here who really like Call of Duty. Well,
Who are those people?
actually, you're one of them, and maybe you're.
I mean, like I think it's
3.5?
great. I think that
if we move Ring Fit up, because I think we really should, is Call of Duty the game you cut from those 4?
it probably is for me, but again, it's such a personal thing.
I would agree with that, but I just don't have
I would
the
also
love for
agree
Call of
with that.
Duty.
Yeah, and that's the thing is the Call of Duty thing is not a specific judgment about this game. It's about me never really clicking with this franchise at all, and so I just can't muster the
The
enthusiasm.
stuff they were talking about with the night vision and like, I mean, you guys just are deeper in it than me, so I can't appreciate a lot of those details. I think Gunfight is fucking the coolest thing they've done in
I mean, out of the
years
stuff
and years.
Yeah.
But the co-op stuff is also a huge black mark for me, so that one is a little more.
It absolutely is.
That was a little-
It really is. And, that's a. If they had nailed that part of it and made something that was like the actual Spec Ops experience or something better, it'd be a different conversation, because this would already be up top.
Right. Looking at these 4, that one seems to have the most knocks against it.
Well, they blew it. They blew it on the co-op stuff.
The stuff I played that I'm kind of with Dan. Well, I don't play Call of Duty every year, but I went back to the multiplayer here, not expecting to enjoy it, and really enjoyed it. And that was a huge surprise. The Judgment stuff, I just never got with the combat in the Yakuza games, and it's similar. So it's kind of just I found that stuff.
Yeah, it's the same. It's more or less the same combat system they had in 6 and in Kiwami 2.
And so I never got far enough in the story stuff. So I would probably personally on my list not have Judgment on it, where I would have Call of Duty on it.
Right.
But the case made for Judgment is strong.
Yeah, I think that's
so that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
So cut Luigi?
No.
Dude, something's got to go
That's
here.
tough.
Something has to go.
I really appreciate the impassioned, responses from both Ben and Alex for their respective games.
I don't have a passion for Call of Duty. I think it's very, very good. I really like Luigi's something that it's a polished, great version of Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
And I think the co-op is exceptional, especially in the case that I played it. And Luigi can't go in water, but Luigi can. But he can go down pipes.
Okay. All right, I'm giving this room 2 minutes to cut a game, or we have to take a break.
I feel like the argument here, I think, is Luigi's Mansion versus Call of Duty.
I think that
I feel like Disco Elysium and Judgment both have to move up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not.
I could lose Call of Duty. I love Call of Duty. I had a lot of fun with it, but also it seems like Luigi really touched a lot more people. It also seems
Get Luigi
Actually, Gooey
touched Vinny's kids.
That's how Luigi is made.
And I just think that there is a real charm to Luigi's Mansion. And I think that what they do, a lot of the quality of life stuff and a lot of sort of making it accessible for a broad range of people, from kids to adults, is also something to reward.
They're so different. It's a very hard
and
thing.
I just straight up haven't liked any of the Luigi's Mansion games. So it's not just I didn't play that much of it. It's I have an active dislike for
and it's not
what that
change.
thing is, and it's not going to change.
I didn't finish the first
kind of
two.
with-
This is the first that I've
I'm kind of with Brad that I kind of wish it was a little hearing. I haven't played it, but hearing that it is so levels, literally levels.
Yeah, it's literally levels.
Is a little less interesting to me. I haven't played either of these games. The one I want to dive in and play is Call of Duty, based off of what I've heard about them.
I like both of these games a whole lot, but Call of Duty is definitely the one for me out of these two.
I don't think Luigi handles secrets. Well, there are plenty of great secrets, but there's
lots of
really I phrase that poorly. There are plenty of cool secrets, but there's a lot of filler rooms in there too.
Sure.
There's a lot of rooms, a lot of hotel rooms that look exactly the same and don't really have any character to them. If they put one unique, interesting thing in each one of them, I would like it a little better.
Yeah, but you know what they do got? They got money.
I feel
they got
that's
money.
pretty fun, except the aiming is not the best. So sucking up all the money can be a little bit of a pain.
The controls can be frustrating.
I did feel like there were just one or two too many cases of me going in rooms looking for cool stuff and just thinking this room is just like the last 8 I went in, and there's nothing here.
I like to. They hide little secrets in really fun
there are
ways
a lot of
everything.
good hidden secrets for sure.
Yeah, but the thing is, my enthusiasm for that kind of waned as it went on because, once the store opened, I was super excited because, all these secrets I'm finding, all these gold bars and everything, I'm gonna get to buy some cool stuff. Yeah. It's just those 3 things, none of those are fun or cool.
I really wish they had a better use for the money.
Yeah, that kind of
because I had so much money. I was like, man, I can't wait to buy some What if I could buy a red hat for Luigi? That would be weird.
What the fuck?
No. So you want more monetization?
Just give me
loot boxes.
Give me some MTX. In
That's where it really falls apart is the monetization.
Those just being basic consumables that you buy with the money.
That is absolutely fair criticism.
I like the game. I want to finish it. My girlfriend loves watching it, but there's just 3 or 4 things about it I wish were a little better.
I think at this point, despite my really liking Luigi's Mansion quite a bit, I feel like maybe the arguments for Call of Duty are just a little more impassioned, on a broader scale here at the table than they are for Luigi's Mansion.
We're 1 minute over, so
I think that's kind of where I'm at too.
We're in overtime,
of course. But I said my piece. I would cut Luigi's, but
I could go either way, honestly.
Yeah, I could see Luigi's go. I mean,
I would take Luigi over Call of Duty, but it seems like Call of Duty has a lot.
I would also take Luigi over if it's these two.
Yeah, it's a weird 2 to have to pick from.
I mean, I'm trying not to say like on a personal level because of course my personal list looks a lot different than this. But I think based on the stuff that's been said about the other games, I feel like this is where we're at. and
Yeah,
I think that's where we're at.
I could see Luigi's for this list being off of it.
Yeah.
Is that the final call?
I think Luigi's Mansion 3 is officially our 11th best game of the year.
Bye, Luigi. Enjoy the Bammer.
Man, Luigi's not going to the Bammer.
No, he's the king of the Bammer.
Yeah. That actually is kind of poetic for Luigi.
He rules the Bammer. It's always the year of Luigi and the Bammer.
Brad, why do you look so sad?
I'm trying to make sure we're okay with this.
Yeah,
it's definitely
yeah.
happening.
I mean, listen,
Is
we
anyone arguing
are
against
until
this?
we start organizing this top 10 list, and just half the games flip around.
Look, man, I just
the Bammer opens wide up again.
Yeah.
I just
What if I-
moonwalked Judgment somehow into this list, so
What
I
if
can't be
I'm
mad.
just gonna leave Luigi floating around
No,
here,
don't put him in the Bammer.
like a free floating.
put him in the Bammer.
Make him king of the Bammer.
King of the Bammer.
King of the Bammer.
It's this phantasm floating around here at the bottom.
I'm king of the Bammer.
All right, we have a tentative list of 10 games. We really have to take a break. We'll come back and do more with it.
Why don't you read the
Can you list
games?
them?
All right, fine. Control, Outer Wilds, Resident Evil 2, Mortal Kombat 11, Apex Legends, Bloodstained, Ring Fit Adventure, Disco Elysium, Judgment, Call of Duty, Luigi's Mansion.
Some really
I'd play
incredible
that.
games on there.
All right,
And that's the order.
okay. we gotta take a break. We'll be back. All right, we're back, and it is time to order a top 10 list. I know we just did this right before
I'll
the break.
take 3.
The war on video games continues.
Okay.
Looks pretty ordered to me. I don't know. I think we're good.
let me read here.
I don't think it's done.
I'm just going to read the list that we have from before the break. Control, Outer Wilds, Resident Evil 2, Mortal Kombat 11, Apex Legends, Bloodstained, Ring Fit Adventure, Disco Elysium, Judgment, and Call of Duty. Since everybody else is already doing this, I'm just going to say if we just moved Outer Wilds over Control, I'd be happy with this list
That's a good list.
as it is.
No way. No way in hell.
I think I would want Call of Duty to go above a couple of those.
Oh, dude,
I'd probably move Apex up
I would
about
move
2
Resident
spots,
Evil
3
2
spots.
down several spots.
you said you didn't play it.
I know. I mean, we have to talk about
Okay.
games we haven't played here. We all have games on this list we haven't played, and just hearing people talk about it, it's like, yeah, Resident Evil 2 is cool.
All right, let's just kind of
Fine with them
go.
moving down.
Let's just kind of go down the list here. Like, we don't have to like do all the horse trading just yet. Like, I think realistically speaking, more people were enthusiastic about Call of Duty than there were for Disco Elysium and Judgment. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
At the
I
same
don't.
time, it barely snuck onto the list.
Yeah, I mean, so did those two.
Those bottom
nature
3
of
kind of
how
came
stuff
up at the
ended
same
up.
time.
Look, if you want to leave those where they are, I'm fine with it.
I
but-
honestly don't care.
I think Call of Duty above Disco, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with this.
that's all right.
Yeah, and I'm not real particular about whether Judgment goes over Disco or vice versa. Like it got on the list. That was really what I was looking for. And if other people have opinions about that, I'm willing to hear them. But I feel like either of those as 9 and 10 is fine.
I think I'd probably take Disco Elysium over Judgment based on the, it's doing something that a lot of games don't do, as opposed to, Judgment being like, here's this kind of
Here's a
cool
novel
new
take
spin
on an existing thing that has been
yeah.
around for a long time. So
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that.
I think that makes sense.
If we just move Outer Wilds up, is that it?
No,
I'm
it's not.
perfectly fine with
I
that.
don't think Resident Evil 2 is the number 3 game of the year.
I think
Okay.
What if we moved Bloodstained up about 6?
Okay, I'm checking the math on that. I think I like it.
What if we swap RE2 and Apex Legends?
I
Sure.
could get down.
I think that's a good move.
That's a
I
good
would
first
definitely. I think
step.
Apex needs to be higher and Resident Evil needs to be lower. So that
Yeah.
does
okay
both
with
those
that.
things.
I mean, I would probably personally put MK over Apex,
Yeah, so
but
would I.
I don't know that I think MK is the number 3 either. So I'm not 100% sure about that one.
I would definitely take Apex over MK.
I think I played Apex. I played a little bit of MK. I'm not a big fighting game person. Neither of these are like my jam. It seems like Apex Legends, for coming into what could just be like a cash grab, like battle royale genre thing, it really does seem to bring a lot to the genre, which I think is great.
Yeah.
And for all Mortal Kombat does right, it really did like the currency stuff was rough and crypt stuff. Like there was
Well,
some-
Apex's monetization was terrible.
was also bad.
Every one of their season passes has been terrible. Like
yeah.
they've had major missteps all year.
Okay.
So if we're going into that territory,
But yeah, I think Apex has had some decent events over the course of the year that kept it fresh. I think the new map's cool. I like their characters, and yeah, I think Apex is
Should we do a little swap?
yeah.
what are we swapping?
Swap RE2 and Apex.
RE2.
RE2 goes to 5, Apex goes to 3.
Yeah.
And I might even say Bloodstained over Resident Evil.
Yeah.
I would as well. I'll take that.
Sure, I'm okay with
But I
it.
don't think RE2 needs to go lower than that.
I mean, I'd put Ring Fit above
I would
RE2,
probably put Ring Fit
but
above
I would also put
No
Ring
way,
Fit
dude.
over.
RE2 was my game.
RE2 is very
Dude,
good.
yeah, you
RE2
guys are
is-
just like shitting on this thing constantly.
No, I love
Shitting on them,
RE2.
they're in the top 10.
I'm like actually not shitting on RE2. I
No,
love-
I'm
If you want me to shit on RE2, I can.
I mean, that was like my front runner game of the year for like a good chunk of this year.
my
Yeah, but I also think
RE2's in an okay spot.
this earlier year was
Yeah,
slower.
it slipped down a little bit, but I mean,
I'm honestly okay with, well, aside from Outer Wilds not being one, I'm
Yeah.
okay with this list as is.
yeah, I could live with it.
I don't hate it. I think we are going to have to sit here and we're going to have to talk about 1 and 2. I think that this is a weird thing to say. On my personal list, Control might be a notch higher than Outer Wilds, and part of the reason is I haven't actually finished Outer Wilds. I played a lot of it, and I'm probably actually pretty close to getting to where I need to with that game, but I think I just didn't fall quite the level of in love with it that a lot of other people at this table did. But I also feel like I respect the construction and the design and just everything that Outer Wilds is trying to go for to such a degree that I have a hard time imagining that kind of not being our game of the year, especially with the enthusiasm the people at this table seem to have for it.
So I feel like, the time I spent playing Outer Wilds was just like me banging my head against a thing and going like, what the fuck is this game? And finding nothing. Like not finding anything. Like flying to all these planets and going like, this all looks cool, but like what am I supposed to even do? And did that for about 2 hours and then realized it was kind of a Majora's Mask time loop thing. I was like, okay, I think I'm going to stop this for now and try to figure out what the fuck people are talking about with this thing. I found that out and tried to come back to it like a while later, started over. I was just like, all right, I just, nothing about that game clicked for me. And it sounds like it does some really cool stuff.
Yeah, and the thing is, I was where you were. Like I was beating my head against that game early on.
Yeah.
The controls weren't working well for me. Yeah. Like figuring out like what I was supposed to be doing or where I was supposed to be going was frustrating me probably more than it really needed to, because I think I was looking for more of a direct like indication of what you're supposed to be doing in that game than that game is really designed to be. Like it is about breadcrumb trails and like finding your own kind of path through that thing.
Yeah.
But like I think I was hoping for something initially more guided, and then over time I kind of came to understand that like that's really not necessary. I started to find the fun in just the experience of just like wandering and poking and prodding and just like just letting the world kind of open itself up to me.
I think I would have really benefited from something pretty early on that taught you how to learn. Because it was a feeling of like, okay, well, it says go here first. So I go here first, and like, okay, I'm pulling out my probe, and this is another musical instrument all the way out here. I'll go out here, and just
that's all in there. Like you're talking about a tutorial, and
I'm talking about like anything that says like, here's where the thing on your ship is that you're talking about. There's a thing on the ship that tells you where to go.
No,
The ship log is like
Or
a
like a
critical
ship
thing.
log?
no, that thing only logs things you have done. It's
Exactly.
A reference.
So like
this is not that game.
So I never found anything that went on that log. So it was this feeling of just, or I never found that log.
Okay, you barely played the game then.
Well,
you might not have seen the
I
log
spent like a
then,
good
yeah.
long time fucking around in that world and dying over and over again and taking off and going like, I'll go this way this time. And it was just this feeling of just like I said, teaching you how to learn. Just even like that little thing of just like, here's how this game is going to convey at least the first little tidbit of information.
I agree.
Might have prevented me from wasting a bunch of fucking time on that thing.
There's probably a world in which the real game doesn't start until you have found the first or second thing on that map.
But there is
then
no
the time loop starts.
There is no wasting time in that game because everything you learn in that game builds toward
Right, but
I'm saying
realization.
it's hard to get to the point where you're learning things.
Maybe I missed some obvious thing early on that fucked me over, but like I said, I just flew around aimlessly and going and talking to people and not getting anywhere.
But you're learning even when you don't realize you're learning until all of a sudden you have some revelation and you're like, oh my god, all those things I have seen suddenly make enough sense for me to progress.
But I
Were
think
you
that's a fair
translating?
criticism. I mean, I think
like
the criticism
giving you a
that
step one of just like, hey, you're not an idiot. Like hey, this is
They
how it's
give you
supposed to
that.
be.
The dude in the museum says, hey, go to the moon. There's some ruins
did.
up there you should check
I
out.
went to the moon and talked to that dude.
But the
and-
moon also kind of sucks. I mean, listen, this is one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah,
but
same.
I also, and it's why I think that there's room for improvement here, because I do hear this criticism from people that it can feel aimless, like that you're just
especially at the outset
wandering around. So I think, and they do this whole tutorial area on Timberhearth, and then they start the time loop. I think if they had added a couple of things in to be like, hey, go here, do a thing, you see it added to your map, this is the structure, how this is going to go.
That's all it would have taken.
And then start the loop. I think that would have been a little better.
Because instead it was just like, well, I don't know if this is this game or not, but I'm going to stop playing now and maybe I'll read up on something because I'm probably missing something.
It's
and
part
at
of
that point it was just like, I'm going to spend my time doing something else.
It's part of why that game was very off-putting to me when I saw it in like a show environment, because I saw that game for the first time at PAX and I was messing around with it and I was just like, I don't understand what this is supposed to be.
Yeah,
like I didn't really get it. Yeah, it's a terrible way to get a first impression of that game. It was what initially kind of made me wary of getting much deeper into it, because I had that initial experience again when I started playing it the first time.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it other than to say you're right. Having some initial, like, maybe slightly more firm pathing at the very beginning probably would have helped a little bit, especially for me, because I like you, I was very aimless in the early
And it doesn't seem like that would have necessarily ruined what the game is trying to do. If it was just like, here's how here's how the instruments we are going to give you will work.
I just don't know what else it needed. Like an objective indicator?
Well, I think for some people, like, I don't want to sit here and do a design doc or or redo the game, but like if you had gotten, again, before the time loop, so that when you start the time loop, because the game is all about not having an inventory, so you don't want to have to collect anything each time.
Yeah.
But like, if you had gotten a piece of something that led you to another planet before the time loop, because I didn't even go to the moon because there's not a lot there. He tells you how to point to the guys who are playing the instruments and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's what I did. I flew to the guy in the hammock.
Yeah.
And then died somewhere.
But like a piece of that core mystery, like if you had found the signal from the first escape pod or something, I feel like that's a real good jumping off point.
But I mean, there's a guy right there that tells you how to use the signal scope and has you pointed at things and says, this is what you should point at things.
Yeah, but then after you do that, you can very easily, like, after I did that, so I did the same thing. I went to the moon first, and then I got the signal scope, and I was like, okay, there's sounds coming from all these planets. And so I went to one of the hourglass planets, the red one, or the twin planets, the red planet, and just kind of walked around. And I found the guy there and talked to him, and he's like, yeah, there's some shit going on this planet. And then I just kind of wandered around until I died. And I stopped there. Eventually, I went back and went to that planet first, and eventually found a cave and went from there. But like, yes, there is a very clear moment in this game where you can like hit a wall and just get completely frustrated.
And I think for me, it was just like this idea of just like, all right, I guess I'll fucking fly all the way back to this place again. Like, at least I don't have to run around the town again. Like, so at some point, it's just like, I
think you don't know what the mystery is at the top, right? And that's good. You shouldn't.
Yeah.
But I think like I think for me when I played it, and again, I love this game, but I think you don't realize what the other people on the, maybe there are going to be 100 people on the planets, right? Of like the other Timberhearth people. You don't really know there are only 3 when you're tuning in the other explorers. You don't know the importance of like, this, you should go see these 3 people. But I do think those escape pods are like really cool to find out of the gate. And I kind of almost wish they tuned you into like a fragment in the museum.
But those things are huge. Like they're almost impossible to miss on the 2 planets that they're on.
But you can miss them.
They stick up higher than anything else on those planets.
I don't know. I mean, I'm hearing about like giant towers people were missing. Like, there are things that you can miss.
That one is in the giant vortex.
I also think there's a pretty big difference in being like, I couldn't find anything to do on a planet, and being like, oh, there was so much to do that I missed one thing. Like, I think that I kind of agree a little bit with Brad in the sense of like, I never went to a planet and was like, where do I go? Except for maybe the sand planet. But even that one, as stuff is falling, eventually you find landmarks. But there were always landmarks that I could go to and look at. Like, it took me a little bit to find the mystery of it, but I feel like I never was wanting for something to look at.
That was the thing for me. Anytime I felt like I was stuck, there was so much to do that there was always something else I hadn't gone and looked at, like to the point that there were entire planets I hadn't even been to.
I'm with you guys as well. I didn't, but I have talked to people a lot about this
I'm
game.
just like, I never found the first thing to do.
There's no main path,
like,
right?
I had the exact same experience that you guys are talking about. It's just that every time it happened, I just stopped and stepped back and took stock. And I said, okay, what do I have to work with? Where have I and haven't I been? What's on my board? Like, I played the game the way it wants you to play it, and I put 2 and 2 together, and
something that was a little more like, hey, you have a board.
It's right there on the ship. Like, it's
I don't even.
I didn't see it right away.
Yeah, it is like that ship takes 10 seconds to walk around. Like, if you can't look at everything on the ship and like interact with what's there, I don't know what else to say.
When the game's like, hey, you're on a time loop, get going, I don't stop and look around what's on the ship.
It's also completely
I
blank
fucking
the
fly
first
and
time.
go somewhere.
To be fair to Jeff,
and then like, okay, I'm going to go in a different direction this time because I didn't find anything on that planet. Maybe there's something over here.
the first time you get on the ship, if you look at the board, there's nothing there to look at, and so it's
Right.
easy to be like, okay, this is just a whatever.
If you talk to the people in the museum, it puts what they said on that board. I played through it last night.
I didn't talk to the people in the museum.
I see the criticism.
I also see the criticism. I just don't get the level of like anger about it.
I like hearing you talk about this game. It sounds amazing, but my whole experience was just like, man, fuck this. What is this?
I mean,
like,
this is from the category of games that takes a little bit of work to get into.
Totally, but
Like,
I feel like I put in more than a little bit of work and a little bit of time, and got jack shit. And I think that was really frustrating to have people going like, you got to play this game, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'll sit down and play it. Like, all right, let's go.
Like, I don't get the impression.
Do I just fly around and look at shit? Like, is somebody going to eventually like pop by and be like, hey, dude, you should go to the sand world? You know, like it just no idea of what was going to happen. So I kept going to different places each time I died and found like nothing other than the guy in the hammock. That was the only thing I found past the moon was hammock guy. I went and talked to him and I was like, cool, man. And then died somewhere there. And the next time I was like, well, I guess I'll go somewhere else.
Did you
I
ever-
talked to that dude.
Did you ever like translate the writing on the walls?
What, like, no, I guess not. I don't know.
I mean, again, they give you the translator in the museum before you ever take off on the ship.
I went into the museum and had the like experience of like whatever the thing talks to you or whatever. That it seems like it was saving your game or whatever. Like it almost seemed like a save point.
The statue thing?
Statue head? Yeah.
That's all I remember. This was months ago, so I couldn't tell you if there was anything else in the museum or not. I mean, don't remember.
The main tool you have is a thing that scans like the little loop writing that's all kind of all over any of the different ruins and stuff, and that is generally how you start to get the paths. That's the first stuff that starts appearing on your board. Is just like you have these dialogue trees. They start mentioning
if
things.
you're not doing that,
places.
then you will not get anything.
I think it would have really helped too if there was somebody
I
there.
did the thing with the kids and the probe, and you point at shit. I did all that tutorial.
If there was somebody,
tool.
I think your problem was bouncing around between worlds. If there was somebody there to say like, no, just like really dig in, just pick one world and just walk around it forever, and you'll eventually find something.
See, instead it was like
that would've been helpful.
every loop I went somewhere else looking for something and never found anything.
I feel like each world I landed on, I was instantly like learning things. Like the first thing I did when I got into the ship was I flew to Giant's Deep, and I saw there were all these like different little islands, and I felt like every time I landed on one, it's like, okay, I met the guy, one of the Outer Wilds guys. Then I flew to another thing, and it's like, oh, this ghost matter stuff will kill me, but it looks like I can take pictures of it with this thing. Like I felt like instantaneously, it was just like, oh, there's this, and then I'll fly to this. Oh, there's this.
Yeah,
you know?
and even when I was like,
did I miss a tool? Did I not pick a thing up?
it is puzzling
I know,
that
it's
you
all
didn't
there.
find any of the writing.
odd. The writing
Like,
thing is
it's
That's what I was getting at.
everywhere.
I don't. And again, this was months ago that I went through it for the first time, so I don't even remember. I don't remember writing.
There is nothing to pick up in that game.
It's like
all,
the
it's all
little
just
walls with
equipped.
the swirls on them.
In fact,
sure.
that thing,
I don't know,
That
man.
thing,
That's
a big part.
That thing auto equips when you aim the camera at writing. It literally does
Yeah.
translate to
Then I don't think I ever looked at writing.
I think that I don't know.
I was like, I got to get on the ship because I know the world's gonna end. I got to get out of here.
But it's an infinite time loop. You've always got time.
Yeah, and it's also
Some of those
like
planets are far away.
it took me a few loops for me
The
to
farthest
even
planet
realize.
is less than a minute to fly.
Yeah. And like it also took me a few loops for even to realize that like, oh, the world is ending. Like I just thought like, oh, I died in this way or I died in that way, and eventually I went to the 22-minute point, and then it was like, oh, the sun blew up. So I didn't even get there right away. Like I don't know. They're really like I felt like every planet I went to, there was some kind of landmark I could go and look at. I don't know, that was pretty clear to see on the horizon. And even when there was stuff where it was like, there's information that I didn't pick up. Like there was a bunch of stuff about the quantum moon that I just figured out on my own based on knowing like, if I look at the quantum moon, it stays there. If I look away, it doesn't. So it's like, well, I'll try taking a picture. And then there's also stuff of like, you know, there are these whole trials about the quantum moon that I didn't even see, but I still figured out that puzzle. Like, I think even if you don't get every piece of information, like you can, and like, granted, it did take me a while to get to a point where I knew to even go to the quantum moon and what it was, but that information I don't think is...
Well, if you don't remember the writing stuff, that's the only way
That's
stuff
what I've
happens.
read. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's like not having the jump in Mario. Like
Yeah,
that is...
Yeah, like I literally like, okay, I need to go do this and get on the ship and go.
Yeah,
Like I think I went in knowing you should play this. It's really cool. Also, it's a time loop game.
Okay, yeah.
So I was like fucking hauling ass through that initial area, going like, well, I don't want to die. And so every thing I did in that game was just frantic. Like, I got to find stuff before the world blows up.
That's not the
and
pace
it
of
was
the
just
game.
fucking aimless.
Not how that game works.
Yeah, that's a
No.
bummer. That's
Yeah, I think you went into it with like the wrong impression about how that thing is paced out and like what you like the way you're supposed to approach that
Yeah,
stuff.
All right,
it's a
well,
matter of-
I'm sure I missed the point of it, but like my experience with that game is that game sucks. My feeling on my time with that game is just like, holy shit, fuck this. Like again, I'm telling you my time with the game,
get it, I
and
get
that's
it.
what happened.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not saying that's
yeah.
like the right fucking take.
His analogy
But-
about the Mario jump is
Yeah.
extremely apt, though.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a
these are the
bummer.
basic mechanics.
Those games
of the
came with a
game.
manual that said
Wow.
A is jump.
It's like
I mean,
if I
literally,
went into control and never used a power,
Totally.
I'd be like, you just run around and shoot. How do you get up on that ledge?
Yeah.
And be like, it's
They
a
give you
similar thing.
They give you, yeah.
Well, like Brad said, you do get the thing in a tutorial. I mean, you might not remember it, but I don't think you can get past the beginning without
Not
the
like you-
scanning.
You have to go in the museum.
The
You
slab-
have
I
to.
went into the museum and
The slab with the writing on it is literally right there as you walk up the stairs to get the launch codes.
If you don't point your
It's the
camera
first
right
time.
at it, it doesn't prompt you to translate. So I could see that happening.
Well, I don't think
maybe.
you can get the launch codes without it.
Yeah, I
But
think
even
you
if you-
can. I think you can.
I think my thing
I
is
think it's
also
technically
the only thing I
possible.
remember in that area is like I needed to go there to be able to have the ship take off, talk to a person or whatever it was. And then when I left, it stopped and said like, "Hey, this statue just did something freaky." I was like, "Cool, I got to go." And
But-
then the ladder dropped
I'd be
that would take you
curious,
back
I'd be
up
curious
there.
to see if
and-
you can get the launch codes without it, because I thought it's one of those things. He
don't-
built the translator and he goes to pick it up.
I don't
isn't
think it forces you to look at that thing.
Yeah, I think I.
It's
missed
right
it
there when you walk
initially.
by, but I don't think it like
I
forces
think
you.
my
but-
thoughts on that though are like even if you miss it in the museum, the second you go to any landmark on any planet, there's usually a little plaque that has a spiral thing that you look at, and it like
Yeah,
wants
it's not
it
like-
wants to pull it up so
It's
often.
not
Like,
like- it's not like
every
you-
landmark has a means to have.
Like you don't have to do it
translate
in the
stuff.
museum for it to work later. It
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
works.
It's a terrible experience. I'm sorry
I had
for
a
you.
terrible
That's-
experience
that
with this
sucks.
game.
Yeah.
I felt like Timber Hearth, like, that opening area, once you talk to everyone, you repair the ship and all that stuff. Once I was done with that, I was like, okay, that served as like a perfect tutorial
Yeah.
of like, I know what I need to do here, and then I'm going to go off and explore at my own leisure. Like, I thought that was so well put together because like, okay, I don't need to come back to this area because it already taught me all this stuff.
We talked about that the other day. Like literally every mechanic in the entire game
Yeah,
is
yeah.
contained in that first,
Even like the
in that,
quantum
in that
stuff.
town.
Like, you
yeah.
learn all that
Yep,
stuff there,
all
yeah.
of it.
Yeah, that's a bummer. That's yeah.
So that's why this game is not anywhere near my top
Sure.
10. Is like I just had a terrible time with it.
You should see if you're interested to go back and see if you have that thing.
Like that stuff sounds cool, and
to see what that
I don't even
experience
know what
might
I would
be like.
reload. I think I've uninstalled it and reinstalled it a couple of
Okay.
times.
I mean, there's no
since then.
save
It's on
game.
Game Pass.
There's no save game. Like you,
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
always beat that thing in 20
you
minutes.
can beat the game on your first run if you know what to do.
Yeah.
Well, if
you get your.
if you don't know the
you-
launch codes, then
you'd have to do that
you have to do
tutorial
that
again.
stuff again. So
Yeah.
there is
But
some
even
kind
now,
of
you just
save.
go to
Get
the
it.
museum and then go to the.
Yeah, that's.
It's also the loop
that's a shame.
doesn't start until after the statue looks at you. So there's no time limit on the planet. You can be there for hours. It's until that statue looks at you is when the 22-minute
Yep.
thing starts.
It definitely like this kind of game. Really, I was like really forcing myself to push past the beginning because I am a very impatient gamer. I am very frustrated when a game is built around stopping me from doing something once I get really into it. So the idea of like this universe is going to reset every 22 minutes, right when I'm starting to get on a roll, sometimes it like resets, and that was extremely frustrating at the top. But once I made it past that hill, once I made it into the once I made it to the Sunless City, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Once I made it to the Sunless City for the first time and started seeing like, okay, here's the scale of this thing. Here, I was like, okay, I understand why from the beginning they're putting you on a time loop. That's the whole thing. That's the whole like idea of the game. And I was just mad at that. But once I started experiencing it, I'm like, okay, I'm starting to get it. I still think it's frustrating.
It was a huge obstacle for me, at first. When you're into something and you're trying to figure something out or explore something, and then all of a sudden the time loop happens, and you're like, shit, I got to go all the way back again.
Sometimes you don't remember how you got to the place you got
Sure.
to. It's very easy to stumble into things in that game.
So yeah, it was very easy at first to just get frustrated.
Yeah.
The cycle for me was stumble into thing on one run, like try to figure out what it was about, probably be late in the run, so I didn't have much time, respawn, go straight back there, and then have a whole loop to spend there.
Yeah.
And at that point, I would really dig into it.
I only got super frustrated at the end when there's very particular things I was trying to do,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
the loop would hit, and I, had to make the run, and just jump in the ship, try and blast to the thing as fast as possible.
Yeah, I rarely got frustrated when I died or hit a time reset because I just figure, halfway through the game, until you know the end and what you're doing, you know you're not going to solve the time loop in any given run. So I'd just be like, I'd learn whatever I could, and then when the reset happened, I'd be like, okay, well, I think I had more I wanted to check out there, or I'll check something else out. I just felt like I was always like leisurely, just kind of like trying to get as much knowledge as possible.
Yeah, it wasn't until like I only had like 3 or 4 check marks I hadn't completed on, because they do give you they color coded on the map of like, hey, there's more to see here. Which is super helpful.
Sounds great.
Yeah, it's really very helpful. But it wasn't until I had like only like 2 or 3 of those, and just that's when the loop really got on me a bit of just like, oh, I just want to explore this. I think I know where I'm supposed to be, but I can never get there in time, or I've got there too early. Because it's clockwork, right? So you have to, some of those puzzles involve you getting there at a certain time. And figuring that out can sometimes be frustrating.
I think the only thing that maybe contributed a little bit to my frustration as far as the loop stuff goes, because at a certain point I just realized, like, this is the amount of time I have. This is what I'm going to be able to do in this time, so I'm just going to work with that. I think especially early on, just wrestling with the ship a little bit really kind of
that was the thing that almost broke it for me. Like I said it, I think on the last podcast I talked about it on the flight controls were making it to the point that I love them.
And they
They
took a lot of getting used to. I eventually got there. I feel like I'm now at a point where like I'm not just like fucking flinging my ship at a surface and hoping it sort of lands on the feet. But for a while there, I did feel like I was losing some time because I was just trying to make navigating work in a way that it just didn't feel natural to me.
That's why I wanted it to feel elegant. I wanted to like stick the perfect moon landing. You know? Like I wanted it to be that game, and then I finally realized it's not that game.
Yeah,
it's not.
But I got good enough at it by the end of the game that I almost could do that.
Yeah, I got there. You know, and it's like I don't hate it now. Like I feel pretty comfy with it. But like in the early hours, it was the thing that was like, I feel like I want to be here so much faster than this game will let me get there.
But at the same time, I mean, it's a game that wants to portray space as this unstoppable force.
Right.
And like that's part of making you feel subject to the whims of the cosmos. You know, to never put you fully in control.
And I think I personally thought that they had a lot of nice resources in place to mitigate kind of the awkwardness of flying the ship, as far as like match velocity, and the autopiloting is really good.
Just repairing your ship.
Repairing it was easy, and even like the sort of landing camera was a nice feature.
Weirdly enough, flying the ship and landing was a part I had no problem with.
I loved it.
Match speed, land that thing. Like, okay,
Felt clunky. Yeah. It had like a lunar lander.
It's got a lunar lander.
Like I refused to use that stuff early on because I wanted to feel cool flying the spaceship, and then once I finally said, all right, fine, I'll just autopilot there, like it got
well, the autopilot can be kind of clunky sometimes.
It can.
I know, it's like I'm flying to the sun, but I like that.
They actually write
the first time that happened to me, I got really
They write
mad.
dialogue around that.
Right. Like, what's wrong with your autopilot?
The guy who designed the autopilot, if you go back to him after you've autopilot into something, he's basically just like, don't autopilot with something in your way, dumbass.
Just like look out the window.
Right. And like that's that kind of that game in a nutshell is like always just stop and think about what you have access to, what your tools are. Like it took me way longer than it should have in Dark Bramble to figure out what to do, not because like I figured out the anglerfish stuff immediately. As soon as I read all the like the children's game rule stuff, I was like, oh, they're blind. I just have to drift through without using propulsion.
Which is scary and cool.
It's scary as hell, but like I figured that part out. But once I got in there, I was like, well, which fucking seed do I go into?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like what? I spent like 2 loops in there just going like, where the fuck do you go in here? And finally, my girlfriend was watching. She was just like, why don't you get your signal scope out? And, like point it around. And I was like, fuck. I forgot I had that fucking thing. And like as soon as I did that, like it all clicked into place, you know?
It's not
and it was just because I was ignoring a major, like a primary mechanic and just too focused and tunnel visioned to think about using it.
The main times I got frustrated were when I knew what to do and it was just something I was wrestling with, and like mechanically, where it's like I got eaten by a fish like a million times because I was like trying to press it just as softly as possible, but some dumb thing would happen or I would bump into it and I'd get eaten.
Yeah.
Or like some of those like gravity crystal things. There were a couple times where it's like, okay, got to make this jump over there, but like gravity would shift and I'd fall and not stick to the wall or whatever. So that's frustrating because some of that stuff can feel kind of clunky at times. But in terms of just like not knowing where to go next and things like that, I just felt like I always had that sense of discovery that like Breath of the Wild. It's like, well, I'll just walk in that direction or I'll go look over there and see what I find. And I felt like I was always rewarded with
There's
cool
just
stuff.
so much there that I never ran out of stuff that I hadn't seen to go look at until I knew what was going on enough to like start digging in.
Or if you're banging your head against something, like I don't know how many times I went to Vertal Hollow because it said there was more to explore in the Hanging City. I did that like 5 or 6 loops or whatever and just couldn't find anything. And I was like, well, okay, whatever. I'll just go to the Interloper and try to figure something out over there, you know?
That doesn't sound fun.
I loved it.
I mean, it's just a non-linear adventure game. Like it's about having access to the entire game all at once and just going wherever you feel like until you figure out what you want to do.
Yeah.
Or what to do.
Yeah, and I like that the currency is knowledge. The pickups are knowledge in it.
It's like
get that scope. It helps out.
They're not even pickups. Like you have them.
Well, the knowledge. I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that it's what makes it so immersive. And what I don't know, I think sort of even the non-linear kind of non-railroady way of telling the story and like being like, I'm just going to go where I want to go, I think gave me a lot more ownership over the story and really immersed myself in it more, just because it wasn't just a thing that's like, okay, go here, go there, and sort of mindlessly following orders. It's like I have to actively be like, where do I want to go next? What do I want to look at next? What's the next part of this story?
It feels like a very personalized experience because you naturally gravitate toward the things that catch your interest or the things that you start putting together in your head.
Totally.
And so everybody kind of takes their own route through it.
I also really like the kind of community aspect of it outside of playing it, of like talking to other people. Like even when we were talking to Janae of GameSpot and she was like, oh, I haven't done this. And it's like, he has, Dan hadn't done it. So we all sort of looked at this thing together and learning about like the thing in the tornado, which is like, I totally finished the game and missed that. Like, I think that aspect of it is also just really rad.
Yeah, I wish there was more there.
It's really fun to like not look things up because that just lays it out a little too plainly. So it's like I would talk to Vinny because I knew that he played it, and he would just kind of nudge me. He'd be like, "Oh, have you done this yet? Maybe go look over there."
Totally.
And now I convinced Alex Boniello to get it, and so he's texting me this whole last week like, "Oh, what do I do here?" And it's like, "Okay, show me a picture of your ship log," and like trying to nudge. It's fun to do that.
That was me with Austin as my mentor. Like I didn't look up a single thing in that game.
Yeah,
he gave me a few hints, and it was just super fun talking about that game.
Absolutely.
So what you're saying is you went outside the game to discover what to do.
I got hints from him, yes.
Okay.
I mean, I did that for Hypnospace.
It's not the same thing as looking up a walkthrough.
Yeah.
I mean, I could say that about every game.
Yeah,
Sure, I know.
Yeah.
There's not one on here I did not do that for.
Yeah, I would say, especially in the case of Control, there was definitely a point I hit in that game where it was just like, I literally don't want to think about this game anymore. I just want to push through and just do the thing that I'm supposed to do to get it to the end.
I think the only thing in Control that I ended up going out of game to look at is there's those spots where it's like shoot 5 molds, or like there's like 5 spots you got to shoot to get out or whatever, and I'd find 4 of them and be like, fuck.
Or there was a side. I don't know if you guys did the side one where it's like find the mold people in the facility, and there was also a find.
Basically, a lot of the stuff
things.
involving the mold was like it was oftentimes like find 5 of these things. It's like,
Cool looking, annoying to deal with.
Yeah, I didn't like the mold people. Yeah, I really like Control, but why it's definitely second to Outer Wilds for me is I feel like when I was playing Control, every time I died, I wanted to never play the game again. Like, the checkpointing was so fucking annoying, knowing it would be like, well, here's another big, long loading screen into, even at the best checkpoints, it's like, I'm still going to have to move to this area. Like, it was never just like, here's me right in front of the thing that killed me, which I wish was the case. I also felt like some of the deaths felt really cheap to me, where it's like I fell through a fucking stupid hole and it didn't feel like it was my fault. It was like I'm looking up at the thing I'm fighting, or just similar things where it's like, oh, I just got like hit twice and I'm dead.
There
and
are
it didn't seem like there was enough indication that's like you're about to die.
There are
that it was
multiple
just
enemies
really
like that.
frustrating.
Even with multiple health upgrades equipped, there are enemies that can do most of your health in one hit and like can hit you from off screen like very abruptly.
And I think I would be less frustrated with it if the checkpointing was better. And I know that's a common complaint, but it was so frustrating. And I like the combat too. Like I like that game. I think the story also was a little too muddied for me to care what went next, but I did like the world. And I wanted to know what happened next in the world and less what happened next to the characters.
That might be a case where, like, since I played that on PC, like the checkpoint stuff didn't really bother me that much, and maybe it's just because the load times were way faster.
Yeah, that would help.
Like just getting right back into that game, and
the load times on console were never great.
Yeah, I feel like the longest checkpoint I remember is, I want to say it's near the train turnstile. It's that fight with Tomasi.
The flying. The very early one?
No. The late. You see him first, but then when you go get him.
You fly across that big gap.
You fly across that big gap. It wasn't too bad, but I feel like that for me was like the worst checkpoint situation I got into.
I had
the Moss boss, I think, is probably the actual worst.
That one was bad. There was one other boss
one
where
is not good.
You have to go through the elevator, so you have to see it through like 2 loading screens. The loading screen to get to the checkpoint,
and I
the
get
elevator,
it.
go through another.
I don't think I died to the.
I didn't really have a lot of issues with the bosses or like cheap deaths or anything too bad. There was a few here and there, but then for 90% of that game, and then that last combat area where you're working your way up to get to the Polaris, I think.
Yeah.
That was I
died more than anywhere else in the game.
The thing I ended up doing, I then went and saw on message boards and stuff, like a ton of other people had also done, of hanging back on the previous platform with charge and just picking guys off. From
that's
totally what I did.
I mean, I think the idea they want to go through the ultimate combat challenge of just tiny platform, not many hiding spots, and a bunch of guys, and like use all your powers. But it just
what if you didn't?
It wasn't fun, and I died like 3 times.
Kind of split the difference most of the time. Like I think when I started really making progress, it was splitting the difference of like, okay, I'm gonna pick off a couple of guys with charge and then just go over there and finish the job.
And it was such a bummer because it was like 5 minutes after the ashtray maze, and I was just like fucking jumping out of my seat to finishing that game. Like I wanted to see where it was going to go.
Yeah, that path up is probably actually the worst gameplay part in that game. I kind of
wish it had an end boss. Like I wish they had done something unique at the end of that game.
Yeah,
in a game,
like you're expecting something.
Like in a game that's about fucking with reality and doing
especially because there are boss fights. Like it's not like I mean,
you did the refrigerator guy?
Yes. Yeah. I didn't mind that one as much as most people seem to.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. Just thinking of boss fights, like giant monster boss fights. Yeah, that's like the most giant monster.
Well,
boss
I mean, the design of the monster. I mean, it looks freaky as hell.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Isn't its eye in its mouth or something?
I like the stoplight boss where you have to kind of keep moving around the.
I haven't seen that one. I still want to see that one.
I thought the mirror,
whole mirror
really
quest,
cool.
like the Hearing that voice recording and hearing the guy, just assuming he's talking. I almost went and recorded that off my TV.
I
and
came really close to doing that too.
But then they thought of that
you,
and let you do it anyway. Like that stuff is all cool. No, it's almost all gameplay stuff for me that holds control back.
Yeah, I wish they had paced out one of the abilities further out. Like I just feel like I got the abilities and then got really far in the tech tree and still had a lot of game left.
Mm-hmm. Like if there was just like one new like thing to change it up later on, sure,
something or
like you upgrade the ability, so it's like I can mind control people a little longer, or do 2 of them.
I feel like they did that side ability like in the middle of each tree, where it was just like, oh, you get the cool thing, and now just like 2% more, like or 4%. I want fly forever at the bottom, or I want like shield forever at the bottom. Yeah. Something to get those points, because I did a lot of the side stuff.
Points are finite in that. I mean, you can get enough to fill the whole thing out, but like they're not easy to come. But you can't grind them. Like,
you also don't need them to get to where you need to in that game.
No, but like, I
I
enjoyed playing it. I wanted reward for doing well at combat, and the currency. I forget. It's not shards. I forget.
There are like 8 currencies in that.
The ones you use to build pieces for. I tried unlocking the guns. I did that, and then like I got a whisper of a cat ear or whatever it is to get the things.
It's the threshold shards and
whatever they are, like a memory or something. But like
crafting materials, literal crafting materials,
crafting materials. And I think when I beat the anchor boss, I think you just got crafting materials. And I was like, at that point, I was like, because you had gotten a power or something after each object of power. And I was like, wait, that was that.
Well, this
it took me like 4 or 5 times.
It's a super side thing. Like you don't need to do that.
I don't think I realized that, and that was a bit of a bummer.
Yeah. Benny, what if you could invert and turn the house upside down anytime you wanted to?
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
I think that's why Bloodstain's on here, because it has a total disregard for its lore gameplay. And if that game had played it straight, I would not enjoy that game.
Yeah.
So you're saying we should move Bloodstained up?
No, I think Control is great. I think Apex Legends.
You're saying we should flip the whole list upside down.
No. Wait.
All right, Alex, let's do it.
Can we do that?
Worked for fucking Bloodstained.
Yeah. I don't know. I think for me, it seems like the enthusiasm toward Outer Wilds is. I mean, multiple people are saying it's one of their favorite games of all time.
Yeah, I'm not going to fucking dig in too deep on it, other than to say I'm pretty fucking disappointed that I had such a shit experience with that game.
I am too.
And I wish that they had I wish that they had solved for that in a way that would have let me get to that game a little bit faster. Because now it's like I guess I got to go back and fucking look at something that is apparently incredibly obvious.
I mean, I don't know. It's
congratulations, Gully. Now I get to go back in feeling like a total dumbass, which I'm sure will make me enjoy it.
Fuck,
now I just feel like
bad. kind of have to side with Ben here. Like, I get the impatience thing. Like, you kind of have to check your own impatience in that game. And
but like I said,
make yourself
I
look.
put hours into it. It's not like I like spent 20 minutes and going like, this game isn't fucking holding my hand.
Walking by all
I
that
was
stuff.
ready to.
Walking by all that stuff in the museum, like, that's tough to sell.
But my thing is, like, even if you walk by every single thing in the museum, because a lot of that stuff didn't necessarily stick with me because it's all in the abstract.
Yeah, I forgot about a lot of it, but
then you go to any planet and there's just like so much shit on the horizon.
See, I feel like I found stuff to look at and went to planets and said like, "Wow, this sand is crazy," and then walked around for a while and never really found like there was stuff that looked cool, but it didn't seem like I could interact with it in any way.
I'll be curious to hear if you boot it back up and
I guess,
kind of maybe like I think it's like LB is the translate thing.
RB, I think.
Like see if you see that and
yeah.
And don't hurry. Don't
because that is such a huge part. Of it.
Yeah, I think
apparently.
Yeah.
Dan just nailed it. Don't hurry is really like if you go in knowing it's a time loop, you have to kind of like think about them designing this game for somebody who doesn't know anything about it, and it's like it's not. They need to make it in a way that it's not going to punish you for not rushing.
Yeah.
Right.
So really just like don't worry if you're not finding anything. Like you got to approach it as like I'm just going to walk around, and if the time loop ends, the time loop ends
you're not
until you
losing
find
anything.
something.
I think there's only one time loop that I was like, oh fuck, I just got to this thing. But I think all the rest I was like, okay, time to die.
Also, wear your
I feel
spacesuit.
like I played that game like I was drowning, and most of the times I died before the time loop ended because I was just like, "Well, I'm gonna jump off this thing and see what happens."
I mean, there were like 3 times when I just like the Tower of Quantum Knowledge is a great example. Like, I don't know how much trouble you had getting in there.
Getting up there? Wait, is that the one in
Or no, it
Giant's
was the
Deep?
White Hole Station that you had trouble with.
Oh, fucking that.
Yeah, the White Hole
The Quantum Trials one.
No, the one from Brittle Hollow that gets warped through the black
Oh,
hole
it took me a while to figure that out.
you
I
can't-
think he had to nudge me.
that you can't get up into until you wait for the 0G
Yeah.
part. That happened to be right at the end of the loop.
Right.
And I don't know if I quite read every last message up there. And as much as I was like, oh, fuck, this sucks. I just got in here. I thought it was fucking hilarious that I was trying to read as fast as possible before a supernova dissolved my being. Like, it's just so weird that speed reading is kind of a mechanic in that game. It's just such a weird thing.
Yeah, like I definitely felt that, and I would like reading kind of like once you get into the heart of the energy station in the Sunless City, there's like a big sprawling text one, and I was going through, and I knew that the thing was coming because I was like, it's been about 20 minutes or whatever, and I'm like translating all of the coils, and then I hit one that was like a joke, and I get really mad. I'm like, this is pointless. Like the time is of the essence. Tell me something important.
I do wish that from a gameplay perspective, I know it would go against. It's kind of antithetical to most of that game, but it could let you know you've seen some of this dialogue before on the thing.
You mean on the actual writing?
I know it
reread
resets.
some
It's supposed
stuff.
to be from scratch again, but like there were definitely ones when I was trying to 100% every place. Be like, did I get this?
Oh, like if it had just stayed grayed out after you read it the first time, that would have been helpful.
Yeah, but it's again everything's supposed to reset back to 0, so it wouldn't make much sense.
I
there.
think that is a nod toward playability they could make that would
the
kind
mod.
of
I'm gonna put that mod out.
defy their own fiction. But
Yeah, very cool game.
The Caravella cut.
Well, is it our game of the year?
It is for me.
It is for me.
It's definitely
Sounds like
it's definitely mine.
Is this our list?
Let's look at it.
I'm fine with this list.
I mean, if you know, I'm
What
not
if we
going to
moved Bloodstain up
up
a
a
spot?
spot. I was going
would
to say
like
the
that.
same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate it.
Vinny, what do you think? You like both of those games?
I do. I thought that RE2 remake. I think it's fantastic.
It is.
I think Bloodstained. I don't know. RE2 is just it's very so tight.
Yeah.
It's like a
It's so
it's a
well designed.
crafted, well designed experience.
They're kind of opposite ends of the spectrum.
It's kind of hard to wrap my mind around because like I think the cooking and stuff in Bloodstained is boring as hell. There's so much. It's like overload, and everything in RE2 is so measured. And like here are like the 5 bullets, and like there are only 10 zombies
Make
here.
it count.
I feel like Bloodstained has that like weird labor of love where they just like, went too deep
Too
on
much.
things they have no business going into at all. And
Yeah.
you're just
But
like,
they have such a confidence
Yeah,
for it that
yeah.
it's like you were like, okay.
yeah, like everything that they dip their toes into, they fucking dive in. They're just like, no, fuck it. The cooking is ridiculous.
Nothing makes sense in the world. It's so disjointed,
Yeah.
and like
You can
and
see the plot twist, like the heel turn of the bad guy coming from a mile away.
It's a kid's cartoon. It's like a comic of just like what if the dinosaur fought the Pegasus and like and he had a lightsaber,
a wolf hat.
and like RE2 is like so constructed, paced out. There are bad parts of RE2. There are boring bits of RE2, but there are some boring bits of Bloodstained as well.
Totally.
I don't know. It's they're very different. I couldn't put RE2 down. I could absolutely take a break from Bloodstained.
Like I devoured RE2. I could not stop playing.
Yeah,
I was really sick the weekend I played through that game, and I still couldn't stop.
It's also like both remakes coming from like different angles almost too.
From the same era, pretty much.
Of people putting like two very different spins on a remake of like, I'm gonna take this time and craft this remake, and somebody just being like with a crayon trying to make a squinty version of what they thought Symphony of the Night was.
When I was playing through Bloodstained, and I don't actually know how much of this is true, but it almost had the feeling, and this might sound like a negative thing, and maybe it is, but like Bloodstained is so all over the place that I couldn't help but assume that they had a lot of fucking backer rewards, like design an enemy.
I think they must.
So just like
put your dog in the game.
Put your dog in the game. Like just like here's a bunch of bullshit designed by assholes. That just like, no, I want to put my dog in the game.
I think that contributes to the personality
but
of that
it
game
ends up actually fucking working out.
Because they go so far with it.
Yeah.
If it was just one dog in the game, or it was just like one stupid portrait. No, I shouldn't say stupid. That's very one portrait of a person as a backer.
The
where the
backer
portraits-
portraits actually that was maybe the part that was just like
The portraits themselves are not stupid. The part where the portraits try to fight you is pretty stupid.
that's just Symphony of the Night.
I know.
That's just Castlevania.
Saying. I'm just saying.
These pictures are mad.
Yes, the whole thing seems like it was designed on a Google Doc kind of thing of like add something you think would be cool in the game. So I'm okay with that order for me personally. Like
I'm not mad at it.
I love Resident Evil 2.
Resident Evil 2
really good.
It
it
really
plays
is.
very well.
It does. It was. It was again a thing I played on stream, once a week, and it was a thing that after playing, I was always like, man, I just want to go home and finish it. It was just so fun, and it feels so modern despite its age.
I was so into playing that game. Even like I said, I was sick under a blanket on the couch. My girlfriend was there watching. We have blackout curtains in the living room. That wasn't enough. I fucking went the extra mile and taped the edges of the blackout curtains to the walls to stop the last little bits of light getting in there because I just wanted to horror movie it up in there as much as
I was looking for the dank.
as much as possible. I wanted to just fucking get lost in that thing.
I hope your neighbors saw you like delirious and cold, taping up your windows.
How good was the Mr. X stuff? The way they did
man.
that. It's so effective.
Really fucking
I watched a compilation of like people reacting and freaking out to it, and it was great.
That's a moment,
It's a lot of moments.
Yes.
I found him annoying after a while.
Yeah, eventually. But I mean,
I think he's supposed to be.
But he's also video gamey enough that you realize how to kind of exploit him.
It's fun to shoot his hat off.
Yes.
He doesn't like it.
I want to throw one thing out here. What would people think about swapping Apex and Mortal Kombat? I played so much more Apex than I did of MK, but I think overall, just for like what they set out to do versus like how they treated it and how successful they were with the things, Mortal Kombat's story is great. The online was great. Like, I think it really was like the culmination of a decade or more, like 20 whatever years of Mortal Kombat. Whereas Apex is like a very good and fresh take on a relatively new idea. What's the room think about that?
I am totally with you on that.
I don't know. I think for me it's that, Apex was really well supported over the course of the year and the events and the new map and all that other stuff.
MK did, have its DLC and the combat leagues and the new towers and stuff.
I feel like the combat league rewards were rarely great.
The first season they were, and then the second season it was like, oh, those are a lot like the last ones.
Yeah, and the challenges even are just like spill this many pints of blood.
Yeah. I mean, they're easy challenges to be fair.
Right.
But
and the new map was good, but like their battle passes.
The battle passes and the skin prices. and stuff
like $20 for legendary skins.
I think if we get into just like the currency stuff, I mean, granted the Mortal Kombat stuff wasn't necessarily like paid currency, but like the grind in that game was pretty ridiculous. They adjusted it, but never quite fixed it.
For me, MK11 is the first time I've really cared about playing a Mortal Kombat since 2 and 3, and that's really saying something for me because those were my favorite fighting games back in the day, and this is the first one that I on a pure like engine mechanics level I really wanted to play.
It's the best playing one of those games, especially in this like current trilogy.
Yeah.
Like they fine tune a lot of stuff in that game that I think is really solid all around.
This is probably not for me because I don't necessarily enjoy the fighting of MK. I played the story and never played it again. But for me, I wish MK were free and Apex Legends cost $60. And I wish, because I bought the season pass for MK and everything. And as soon as I finished the story, I never played it again.
Yeah, right.
So I wish I'd put that money into Apex, which I played every week. And got the points or the 20 or the one skin for $60, whatever it was. But,
Right. Yeah.
The thing is, I think they're of a kind in a way. Like obviously they're not the same kind of game, but like they have a lot of the same successes and failures. Like the playing of those games is really solid all around. They both bring some interesting new ideas. It's a lot of the stuff around the edges of both those games is not as good, especially in the monetization area of things.
Yeah. I do think the training stuff in MK is really to be commended. Like that is
That I agree with 100%.
They've had good training in the previous games too.
This is on another
But this
level.
is way better.
Like I've never ever eyeballed frame data in my life before that. Like I actually tried to understand it finally.
Yeah, and they made it in they presented it
They've
in a way
had the
that
frame data before.
No, I know, but I'm saying I never cared about the game, and
Yeah.
it was never
Right.
Yeah.
laid out in such a way that I really understood.
the way they
That warms
presented
my heart.
the way they presented in this
Like,
tutorial didn't make me roll my eyes at the
Totally.
idea of
I was
of
literally
looking
about
at
to
frame
use
data.
the phrase
Yeah.
"rolling my eyes"
Yeah.
at some of the fighting jargon, but instead, I was,
right.
no. But instead, I was like, all right, they are making a really earnest effort
Yeah.
to teach these lessons. I'm going to sit down and figure out what this stuff means.
I think I love MK11. Don't get me wrong, but I think I didn't much care for their add-on content. Like I already said that I think that their guest character stuff has been weak, and I still think it is.
But they've had classic characters as well.
I like
Yeah,
it.
but I don't think they chose the right classic characters for my tastes. Like for whatever that's worth.
Nightwolf.
Yeah, fucking
Nightwolf is maybe the one.
Oh.
Sindel, no thank you.
That's great.
Shang Tsung's pretty good.
Shang Tsung is very good.
That Shang Tsung is
No
pretty
striker, no deal.
I don't think that's a reasonable position to take. And you know I
damn
love
it, man.
Striker. You know I love Striker.
Yeah, but for me, it's like Apex is, all that player movement, all the slides and
feel so
movement,
good.
and
Vaulting.
vaulting, just grappling hook stuff and zip line shit, and just all the different ways you can get around. Like the mobility in that game is immense, and I think that stuff is. It's stuff that Respawn is like classically amazing at, right?
Yeah.
Like that's you see that Titanfall stuff kind of brought to bear in a different form, and I think it works really well. Even in a game that doesn't have wall running, like they have enough of that feel in it that I think it still just moves. And the character design, I like the character design of the characters and the abilities and that sort of stuff. I think is, it really helps set that game apart from other games in the genre.
Yeah.
And I think that they've carved out their own part of this space in a genre that you started thinking was like, man, this was hot, and then very much, or whatever. It's obviously Fortnite is still huge, but in terms of just how much time
And how many
spending in
announcements
the
you were
genre,
hearing about new battle royales?
exactly. It was just it became that same eye rolling thing of just all right, Ring of Elysium, sure, whatever, man. All those games that came and went, and I think that they put together something really special with Apex. And I think that's that's where I land on it. I think that they've done smart stuff with the guns and the balance and stuff over the course of the time too.
I think at this point, I could go either way. I think both games are very strong. I think the 3 or 4 spot makes complete sense to me.
I feel like
either one of them.
it's a real tight. I'm kind of with you, but I think Apex edges MK11 out.
I'm okay with that.
Just a bit.
Yeah. I don't think that either of those games doesn't belong in either of those spaces.
Yeah,
I think MK will probably go a little higher on my personal list, but that's just the one I spent more time playing.
Same. But if there's not a lot of passion to flip them, then
How do we feel about Ring
splitting
Fit
hairs.
where it's at?
I like it. Yeah, I like it.
That's a good spot.
Okay.
I kind of like where everything is.
I feel good.
I mean, Judgment should be number 1, but I'm not going to win that argument. So
You can
I'm
flip
good.
the list in the mirror.
Yeah.
Vinny, can you do the flip button? Can you hit the flip button for me? Yeah, Judgment number 1.
Did it work? I don't know. Did it work?
No,
don't think it
nothing
works.
changed.
I just kind of hit my laptop.
Yeah.
I don't know if he noticed.
It's not a button.
I'm really happy because Judgment won. Yay!
All right, Alex.
Just don't tell him.
how did this happen?
Congratulations to Judgment.
Oh yeah.
All right, so I'm going to go.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys later.
Oh yeah, take the headphones off.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
All right, great.
All right. Going once, Anybody else have any?
What if Control was the best game of the year?
Hell yeah.
Do you guys like Luigi's
You know what?
Mansion?
You know what? I wish Control had been the best game of the year.
What if
I
it
wanted
is?
it to be.
What he said.
What if the part? What if it actually is?
I wanted it to be.
I mean, imagine if any of these games were the best game of the year. That'd be
One
a
of them
hell
is.
of
For
a-
instance,
what a hell
Judgment
of a
is.
year.
They can't all be the best.
But we did find one best.
We did, yes.
Luigi's Mansion.
Ring Fit Adventure.
Tetris.
All right. We're calling it. Outer Wilds is the Giant Bombs Game of the Year 2019, followed
Yay.
by Control,
Yay.
Apex Legends,
Yay.
Mortal Kombat 11.
Yay.
No, we're not doing that anymore.
No,
That's-
yes,
We're
we
just
are.
cheering
Keep
for
going.
We're in it.
Okay.
We're in
I
it.
know. That was the joke. MK11, Resident Evil 2,
Yay!
Bloodstained Ritual of the Night,
Yay!
Ring Fit Adventure,
Yay!
Call of Duty Modern Warfare,
Yay!
Disco Elysium, Judgment,
Number one game!
number one in Alex's heart.
Good work, everybody.
All right.
These are good games.
Tell you what, I'm going to go home and play some Judgment tonight.
You should.
2019 was not, in fact,
I'm not. I
bad
wish
year
I
for
were.
games.
Yeah,
I'd probably
totally.
play Disco, but yes.
There were plenty of good games. It turns
There
out
totally
this year.
were.
And like a wide variety of them.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it. This business used to get bogged down in very specific types of games and sequels to those types of games. And
Not
this
no
generation
more.
has been the opposite of that. Like that's kind of the cool thing is like this is sort of the last time we'll do this for this set of consoles.
Oh God.
Well,
Next year, there will be a bunch of
I
this
mean,
console
obviously,
games.
yes.
but
Yes.
they'll all be launch games next year.
Yeah, they will all be launched.
Congratulations
games.
to Ubisoft.
Yeah, congratulations to Halo Infinite. I don't know.
Maybe.
That's right. Yeah, I guess this would be. I mean, next year we'll have a bunch of this console's games on it, but
But it's the
this-
last
this
year there will
generation's,
only
of
be
course.
this generation of
Yeah,
consoles.
which is weird because these still feel like the new consoles to me.
Yeah.
But
Well, going through this year's list before we wrap up, it once we talk through a lot of those games this year, kind of did feel like maybe we're in this generation long enough. Like all the Rage 2s, the new Far Cries, the the stuff that was like,
oh yeah,
we're just kind of doing this song and dance
that
again.
stuff feels real long in the tooth.
Yeah.
I felt like it's been that way all generation though. If you think about like and Microsoft probably suffered from this more than anybody, but like if you think about the franchises of the Xbox 360
Yeah.
and how they just kind of tried to keep going with those this time around, and just like here's a Halo, here's another.
I mean, it's so
and here's
frustrating.
a couple of Gears games. It's like they don't hit the way they used to.
It's so frustrating because the PS2 era, there were so many franchises that were started and then stopped on those consoles, and then the 360 and PS3 came out, and all those studios made new IPs.
Yeah.
But this time, they all just kept making those IPs.
With some exceptions.
Sony
yeah,
did a
in
bunch
a
of
few
weird.
places.
Sony had
Yeah, yeah,
Horizon,
yeah,
and
yeah.
But
Instead of cutting off Assassin's Creed and doing something new, they just kept making Assassin's Creed games. They tried to make another Mass Effect. They kept making Uncharted.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
And then look,
definitely.
some of those games were very good.
Yeah,
but
totally.
nonetheless.
Totally. But
there's a certain like risk aversion.
Yes.
That
yes.
I feel like has taken root at that level of budget.
And I guarantee we are going to get collections of these games on the next.
Oh, yes.
on the next generation.
Remasters,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Well, especially if you think about a lot of this stuff just being backwards compatible, like
They'll still
that
do
collection stuff is actually way easier to do because it's
Yeah.
just like here you're buying the 3 PS4 games. Here you go.
Yeah.
And I wonder what that's going to look like.
I don't know.
You guys want to make a prediction for 2020 Game of the Year? I'm going to go Guilty Gear.
Oh, man.
Last of Us
2020.
2.
Yeah, Last of Us 2 was pretty good.
Cyberpunk.
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing. Yeah. Madden.
I have this like deep-seated fear
WWE.
that Animal Crossing is going to be bad. I have this like looking at
yes,
it.
I know what you
I
mean.
am
After
intensely-
Nancy Drew, I can't handle
I
another
am
one.
intensely worried about all their road building and all that other stuff. Is just like that stuff doesn't necessarily look
I'm
like
keen on
what I
it.
want to do.
Building roads?
Yeah.
That is
No.
okay. We don't need to get into this conversation, but that is all the shit that people were doing roundabout in all
Exactly,
the Animal Crossing
yeah.
games. So the fact that they're
But, like-
incorporating into it is pretty cool. That's all I'll say on it
But
until
the
next year when it
island
wins.
Stuff,
Island
I
stuff
want that
was
game.
cool, actually.
That
Anyway.
game needs to be great. I need
great.
that game to be great,
I want it to be great.
and I'm worried. I felt the same way about Bad Boys 2, and Bad Boys 2 ended up being great. So let's hope that
Animal
What are your early thoughts on Bad Boys 3?
They shouldn't make it.
They shouldn't make it.
Oh, I got bad news for you.
I need to see the Bad Boys movies.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you do.
Oh, yeah.
Dan, if anyone does,
Spell
you
it for
need to.
news.
Bad Boys 2 is
All right, well, Bad Boys 2, the
Besides-
game of 2019.
Yes,
They
Bad
made
Around the
that game.
World.
I know
They
they
made Bad
did.
Boys.
I reviewed it,
Besides, we all know that next year is all about Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
obviously.
So
You can fish with your tail.
Dragon Ball Z has a tail?
Yeah, he does.
We gotta wrap
Dragon Ball
this.
Z
We
does,
gotta
have,
wrap
he does
it.
have a tail.
all right, thanks for joining us, everybody. That's been Game of the Year. Congratulations to all the winners. It's an honor just to be nominated. We'll see you next year.